me and Mike Mine a little bit earlier on. We're going to be hearing from Duncan Drasdo from the Manchester United support.
I think sooner or later we'll be back and be in the positions to fight for the titles, for the Premier League. But in all history there are periods like you struggle a little bit. So it's always one team like all the time during one decade win all the time. So now it happened many years with Sir Alex. Now we'll just struggle a little bit, but they will be back, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, you can't speak for them, but for you, what's gone right for you then in that period of time?
I'm sure I didn't come here to just beat United or to be in front of United. That was not the target. Absolutely not. It's to play good, to try to win the titles. We did it in the last 2 seasons. This season we won 1 in the Community Shield. So now have the challenge to get another final. So we're going to play that way for that sense.
Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, meanwhile, says that Manchester City have raised the bar under Pep Guardiola, but the United boss says he isn't shocked at how the balance of power has changed in Manchester.
It's a different era. It's a different time. Of course, when the owners came in at Man City, you knew that they were going to go for it. We're still in our own heads one of the biggest club in the world, so of course we want to get back to where we were, but that's going to take time. I'm never surprised at anything in football, and with what they've done, they deserve to be where they are.
Ollie, Gary Lineker said over the weekend that Pep Guardiola's had a more positive influence on English football than anyone ever. Given a couple of the managers who've been here in the past, what would you say to that?
I must say that he's had a big influence, of course, and since he took over Barcelona, I've admired Pep's teams, but I've got to say that I've worked under the most influential one. But for me, it's great to you do see one of the best managers ever, and you can see where he's taken his wisdom from as well. I've had the pleasure of speaking and meeting Johan back in the day when Jordi was here, and we're friends, and you can see similarities.
Yep, see similarities, says Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, as the Manchester City section here that sort of spans between the East Stand and the Sir Bobby Charlton stand at Old Trafford getting noisier and noisier, a line of yellow-clad stewards and police officers separating the Manchester United fans in the East Stand from the Manchester City fans next to them, and there's plenty of noise emanating from Old Trafford as the sprinklers continue to water this surface. It's almost like Manchester United want a surface that they can play quick football on. Who'd have thought that they fancied taking Manchester City on the counter-attack? We shall wait and see what happens, because we're just 8 minutes away from kick-off here at Old Trafford. Can you believe it's 10 years since United and City met in the semi-finals of the League Cup last? If you needed a reminder of the 2 tense thrillers that took place in 2010, you're banging luck.
Fantastic night. I'm very happy for the supporters.
2 good sides going at it, and I think we deserve the victory, definitely.
Right wing, low ball in, and it's been turned in at the near post. Ryan Giggs with the goal.
Tevez in the blue of City against his former club and drives it high into the roof of the net, and we've got a cup tie on our hands now.
He slipped but still gets the hook in the middle. Tevez scores. Tevez gives Manchester City the lead. It's City 2, United 1.
For the club, it's really important. We are training to get to the final. We know that the game away with United will be so difficult for us, but I am sure that this team has fantastic quality. We know that will be so difficult, but we got a lot of chance.
Maybe Scholes drives it in. There it is. It's all square in the tie. Paul Scholes in front of the Trafford end.
Oh my! It's found the net. It came in from the far side by Michael Carrick, and it's found the back of the net at the Trafford end. And Manchester United now are in control of this game. To get a goal, it goes into extra time. It's flicked in. Carlos Tevez gets the flick on at the United road end. His 3rd goal in the tie, and it's all square once again. And they're going to look in corner, and he's headed home. Manchester United are going to Wembley. Wayne Rooney with a somersault celebration in front of the Stratford end has broken Manchester City's hearts. Manchester
United lead by 3 goals to 1 on the night, 4-3 on aggregate.
Played of United. I'm sorry for my player, for the supporters, because we want to go in the final.
You mentioned the Stretford end. They can keep that banner up and roll it on to 34 years now.
Yeah, they can, yeah, and it's all part of the banter between the two clubs, and I think there'll be a few United fans happy at work tomorrow.
But ultimately United are still the top dogs in Manchester. They win the semi-final, they go to Wembley.
Oh, you know it's a big game when the atmosphere starts to crackle at Old Trafford, and a former Manchester United captain and Manchester United's greatest ever goal scorer is in the box away to your left-hand side. Wayne Rooney, beard and all, in attendance this evening. Of course, now playing his trade in the Championship with Derby County, but he's looking forward to this one just as much as the rest of us. Arthur Ulverston back alongside us, and you can just begin to feel the atmosphere ramping up, Arthur.
That's exactly right. Obviously the stadium this took a bit of time to fill up, because obviously both sets of supporters don't have so far to go, and it's filled up quite late, but certainly the atmosphere is beginning to get a little bit frisky now, and hopefully we'll see that as soon as the game kicks off.
Really looking forward to this one. As we get closer to kick-off, I just wonder what's it like in a dressing room? I'm going to ask this to Arthur Ulverston and Paul Dickoff. When you get into a dressing room and you're 5 minutes from coming out and kicking off in a Manchester derby, what are the emotions that are running through you? We'll start with you, Paul.
Look, it was slightly different back in my day when I played in the derbies. I remember coming here under Joe Royal, and we ended up getting a 1-0 draw, and we celebrated it like we won the league. That was the difference between the two teams at the time, But the build-up to the games during the week, you can't get away from it. Everybody's talking about it, the fans, the atmosphere, whether it was here or Main Road or at the Etihad at the time, and it's just a fantastic occasion.
Arthur, when you were playing your trade at fullback for Manchester United and a Manchester derby rolled round, you'd have been the same. It would have been in every shop that you went into all week. It would have been in every pub that you went, a restaurant. Somebody would have come up to you and said, sort it out for us, let's get the bragging rights this weekend.
Well, that's exactly right. All the United fans used to bump into, we were fist in your face, basically get stuck in and make sure you get a result the weekend. And obviously if you bumped into some from the blue side, they'd be trying to take the mickey out of you, and it all led up to the banter of what you get in a game like this. But once you get to match day as a player, you just want to get out and play. You can do all the warming up you want, but you just want to get out there and get the referee's whistle started and get the game on.
Right then, teams are on their way here at Old Trafford. Manchester United in their red home shirts, Manchester City wearing training tops over the sky blue underneath. And it's time to hand to your commentary team the former Manchester United fullback Arthur Ulverston, the former Manchester City striker Paul Dickoff. But first, BBC Radio Manchester's Mike Minay.
180 meetings and now 180 minutes to separate the two sides. This is the 8th meeting between United and City in the League Cup, the first at the semi-final stage in a decade, and the last was during a season when they met 4 times, in which the Reds scored 3 late winners. Nothing decided tonight, but it could have a heavy influence on the second leg in 3 weeks' time. United still have fond memories of the December derby, winning 2-1 at the Etihad, while Manchester City need no reminders of their success in this competition under Pep Guardiola. Back-to-back winners and haven't lost the League Cup since a 4th round defeat here in October 2016. Manchester United make 6 changes from the goalless draw in the FA Cup against Wolves just 3 days ago. Romero, Young, Maguire, Matic, Chong and Mata are those 6. So their starting 11 looks like this. David De Gea in goal, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Jones and Williams as the back 4. Fred and Pereira hold the midfield, with James, Rashford and Lingard operating in front of those 2. Mason Greenwood up top for Manchester United tonight. As for Manchester City, more changes from their heavily rested squad against Port Vale. 8 made by Pep Guardiola, with only Bravo, Gundogan and Bernardo Silva remaining. So it's Bravo in goal, Walker, Otamendi, Fernandinho and Benjamin Mendy as the back 4. A midfield 3 of De Bruyne, Rodri and Gundogan, with Mahrez, Sterling and Bernardo up top for Manchester City, which, yes, means quite clearly no Aguero and no Jesus. Sergio Aguero on the bench alongside the Brazilian Jesus. There were 26 derbies in the 2010s. Manchester City won 12 of those, United 9. It is the first time the Blues came up on top since the 1930s. A fresh decade and a fresh chance to put the record straight here in Manchester. 2 legs, the first tonight, the second 3 weeks tomorrow. Manchester United, red shirts, white shorts, black socks. Manchester City, sky blue shirts, white shorts, white socks. It's crisp, it's cool, it's January football. It is League Cup semi-final action on BBC Radio Manchester. Manchester United will be going from right to left, away from the Stretford end in the first half. Manchester City left to right, away from their own supporters, tucked away in the right-hand corner here at Old Trafford. The Stretford end on its feet, ready for what will be a cracking 180 minutes of League Cup semi-final action. Mike Dean, the referee, gets us underway, and Manchester City play the ball forward out to the far side to begin with. Kevin De Bruyne gets hold of the ball, and Fernandinho now for Manchester City. Riyad Mahrez can't keep hold of it. First throw in of the evening is Manchester City's on that far side of the field there. Right, Arthur Albiston, former Manchester United defender, with you on BBC Radio Manchester. Old Trafford is up for this one, Arthur.
Very much so. It always is when you get you're playing your local rivals, but we've got to make sure we make a decent start here and don't let City dominate in the early stages especially.
Sterling puts the ball in from the left-hand side. Aaron Wan-Bissaka up against him, gets the block in. The ball comes all the way back to Claudio Bravo, and Paul Dickov's had a chance to assess this Manchester City back line. We said, was it going to be a back 4 or a back 5? And the answer?
Yeah, it's a back 4-4-3-3. The only surprising thing for me is the front three that Raheem Sterling started wide left, and it looks as if Bernardo Silva's he's going to be the one that's going to play the false 9. Him or Kevin De Bruyne are the both two most advanced, but it's definitely a back 4 at the minute for Man City.
And one of those back 4, Otamendi on the ball, plays it into his own 6-yard box to Claudio Bravo. A little bit of pressure from Mason Greenwood as Manchester City move the ball from away from our right-hand side towards the Stretford end, away to the left. Here's Bernardo Silva on the far right-hand side. Kyle Walker advances down the channel ahead of him. He might get the better of Phil Jones to it as well. It is Kyle Walker, slots it into the feet of Kevin De Bruyne. A great sliding challenge in the end, I think, from Brandon Williams. And he's won a goal kick in the process as well. Brilliant defending, Arthur Albiston, from the man who now has your position at left back.
Yeah, he's been like a breath of fresh air coming into the side. He's only played the best part of 6 or 8 games. He's went to ground in the box there, and when you do that, you've got to make sure you get a good grab of the ball, which he did do, and diverted that attack away.
Well, United try and get it away with Williams on the left-hand side. Kevin De Bruyne wrestling for the ball deep inside the United half. It's the Manchester City Belgian who comes out on top, double deflection. And it's another Manchester United goal kick, which David De Gea will take tonight. Chosen ahead of Sergio Romero, who's played all previous League Cup games for the Reds this season. And Manchester City in the opening 2 and a bit minutes of this game, Paul Dickov, looking like they're going for this.
Yes, they have, and it's interesting, that move there where Kevin De Bruyne drove into the box. It was great play by Bernardo Silva. He dropped into that hole in between the United midfield and back 4 and the centre halves, because he's playing as that false 9, didn't know whether to go in with him or sit off, and they didn't do one or the other, and they was able to get Kyle Walker down the side, and young Brandon Williams with a great challenge at the end of it.
2.5 gone on BBC Radio Manchester, goalless in the Manchester derby, the second of the season. We're guaranteed at least 4. Who knows what could happen in the FA Cup as well. Both are in the 4th round draw. Manchester United have a replay against Wolves in about a week's time here at Old Trafford. After a goalless draw at the weekend, Manchester City beat Port Vale comfortably 4-1 on Saturday. United trying to get out of their own lines here and struggling. City pressing high, and David De Gea on the edge of his own 6-yard box has to go long towards the halfway line. Mason Greenwood can't rise for the header. The ball is won on this near side by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Then maybe one of those tactical fouls from Nicolas Otamendi, and United have a free kick on the halfway line on this left-hand side. Arthur Albiston.
Well, it's obvious if you're trying to play out from the back and you're getting hemmed in, just hit it long, but you don't want the goalkeeper doing that. You want one of your fullbacks doing that and hitting it into a channel which can give your strikers a half a chance of getting it. United sort of bringing on the pressure themselves there.
3.5 gone, 0-0. Here's Lindelof to Fred, to Pereira, as Manchester United again knock it around in their own half. Phil Jones now gets it down on that far side, goes towards the halfway line. Brandon Williams a yard or so inside the Manchester City half, has to play it back. Fred takes control of the ball. It's a long flat delivery towards the right hand side for Daniel James. Right footed curling delivery in, hits Otamendi, Not that he knew too much about it, but he did enough to adjust his legs, and Manchester City need to clear their own penalty area here. They do. Otamendi, listen to Old Trafford. Fully behind its side. It's a throw in 20 yards inside the Manchester City half for Manchester United on this near right-hand side for the Reds, and they've won a free kick. Gundogan pushing over Andreas Pereira. Suddenly we're talking about Manchester United struggling to clear their own lines. Paul Dickov, Manchester City under the same pressure.
Yeah, it's poor play by Benjamin Mendy. Arthur's just saying there that sometimes you've got to go long to the full-back area, and he's under immense pressure, and rather than just clearing his line, getting City up the park, he's played a poor ball to Otamendi, who's put him really in trouble.
United go forward on the left-hand side. Lingard slides in. Reminder of that stat before kick-off, that Lingard, without a Premier League assist or goal in a whole calendar year for Manchester United. Rumours that he might be on his way out of the club. Mino Raiola, Paul Pogba's agent, has become Jesse Lingard's agent in the last couple of days, and wants to force a move to Italy, is the highly rumoured deal. Also involved in possible swap talks with James Maddison, although Leicester have rubbished that today to say that their man is going nowhere in this January transfer window. Fernandinho out to the far side. Kyle Walker on the touchline, 10 yards inside his own half. Steps in field, gives it to Kevin De Bruyne, and then it's a right-footed cross-field pass to this near side to find Raheem Sterling. The right-footed winger goes down the left-hand channel, tries to beat Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and again it's a big block from the right back of Manchester United. We saw it so often in December, and once again Raheem Sterling, Arthur Albiston, is having problems getting past Manchester United's summer bye. Yeah,
he's one of the quickest players in the league, Sterling, but Wan-Bissaka's very sharp himself, and considering he's only played in the Premiership for half a season, he's done excellent in his first half season here at Old Trafford.
Here's Bernardo Silva tight to the byline, wins the first corner of the game, coming off Victor Lindelof. And Manchester City, Paul Dickov, have a big opportunity here, particularly noticing now Fernandinho and Nicolas Otamendi going forward.
Yes, and with Kevin De Bruyne on the ball, probably get the best delivery in the Premier League. But just going back to the Raheem Sterling thing, for me it's been quite positive, because Wan-Bissaka got the better of him at the Etihad, but the first twice he's got the ball, he's tried to get straight at him.
6 gone here at Old Trafford. De Bruyne is in, swinging delivery. Does get past the first man, that's in a blue shirt of Rodri, and Manchester United head the ball away into Manchester City's half, but City pick it up with Kyle Walker, who'd remained back from the corner. Rodri and Walker interchange passes. Here's the Spaniard again. City come towards the left with Benjamin Mendy, and all the way back to Claudio Bravo, who's only kept 2 clean sheets in 11 games this season for Manchester City. Conceded, prior to keeping a clean sheet against Sheffield United, conceded 3 goals in 2 games before that, 1 against Liverpool, 1 against Wolves, of course a crushing defeat in December just after Christmas Day for Manchester City. Fernandinho goes square 20 yards from his own goal to find Otamendi. Back to Fernandinho, the 2 South Americans combining, and then it's a long ball from Fernandinho, pinged out to this left-hand side, the near side for Raheem Sterling. Goes tight to the byline, will cut it back once again up against Aaron Wan-Bissaka. De Bruyne, Sterling involved again, laid to the edge of the D for Gundogan, who can't get to the ball first. Fred nicks it away from the German and plays the ball towards halfway line, and now Manchester City might be exposed on the counter-attack. Here's Mason Greenwood on the right-hand side, 20 yards from the Manchester City goal, into Marcus Rashford on the right-hand side, across goal, blocked by Fernandinho. Lingard was waiting at the back post. Mason Greenwood, right-hand side of the penalty area, lays it to Fred, low shot. Rashford's offside. Fred's shot was terrible. Arthur Albiston, offside, free kick Manchester City.
Yeah, very unusually for a Brazilian player. He's got great technique, Fred, and he's worked his way into the side and held his place in the side, but his shooting's been awful. And never really looked like sort of threatening the target.
City exposed, Paul Dickov.
Yeah, they were, and that's the threat. With Marcus Rashford, John Mason Greenwood's done great to hold the ball up, played Rashford in, but fantastic covering by Fernandinho in the middle.
It's exciting and it's tense in this first leg Manchester derby, League Cup semi-final on BBC Radio Manchester. 8 minutes played at Old Trafford, and here come Manchester City with Rodri across the halfway line to Gundogan, out to the right-hand side, the far side as we look at it here on BBC Radio Manchester. Walker goes back towards Fernandinho, selected with Otamendi as his centre-back partner this evening. Benjamin Mendy playing quite a lot in field, Paul Dickov, in this opening 9 minutes or so. He's not really in his natural left-back position.
No, he's not, and we've seen Pep do that before.
Here come Manchester City on the right, into the feet. Perhaps Riyad Mahrez on the edge of the east, puts it to the left-hand side of the penalty area for Sterling. Steps in field, right-footed. Can he get his shot away? In the end, a crowd of red bodies, 4 red shirts. And now Jesse Lingard peels away on the left-hand side. Sterling had his path blocked. Lingard holds the ball up 5 yards inside the Manchester City half. Wan-Bissaka with a clever little back heel to take the ball away from Kevin De Bruyne. Andreas Pereira fouled. Free kick, Manchester United on the halfway line. Paul Dickoff.
No, I was just going to say, we've seen Pep playing with the full-backs inverted before.
United coming away on the left-hand side. It's a high-tempo start to this Manchester derby. Paul Dickoff will have his say very soon. 10 minutes gone in this first half, goalless. It's Fred to Lindelof to Wan-Bissaka on this left-hand side. James tries to flick it round the corner. He's knocked in the back by Mendy. Free kick, Manchester United. Pause in play. Paul Dickoff, you might now have your chance.
Yeah, already, in the first 9.5 minutes, so it's very clear that City are looking to get Raheem Sterling on the ball as much as they can. Fernandinho's done it, Kyle Walker, Kevin De Bruyne has done it. Mendy's pushing inside to the middle of the park to drag James, the wide player, in with him in possession, and Sterling staying so wide on this side that it looks as if, it's hard for Wan-Bissaka to one cover his centre half, but two get out to Sterling when that ball goes in.
On ball forward by United. Mason Greenwood knocks it down into the path of Marcus Rashford, left hand side of the penalty area. What a crucial foot that was by Fernandinho to take it away for the corner. But United found space again, Arthur Albiston, and have won their first corner of the game.
Yeah, the young lad Mason Greenwood done well, winning that in there, knocking it down to Rashford. And as he took it into the box at pace as well, I'm thinking if you go down here, you've got half a chance of getting a penalty. Fernandinho had already committed to the tackle, and once you do that, I don't know, you've got a touch of the ball, mind you, get a corner out of it.
Well, VAR is in use. The corner is short from Manchester United on that far left-hand side. Laid to Andreas Pereira now, and back out wide to Fred. Left-footed delivery in over everybody, and it comes to this far side of the penalty area. Kyle Walker lets it run out for a throw-in to Manchester City, and the danger is relieved once again. Fernandinho living life dangerously, Paul Dickoff.
He has, but that's twice now he's came to City's rescue in the last couple of minutes. The first time Rashford's put it across there, and Rashford's tried to take him on the outside, and he's just got a toe to it. He's very careful.
Pictures of Wayne Rooney flash up around Old Trafford. He scored the winner the last time the two met in the League Cup semi-final, 4-3 on aggregate. It was a season where United scored 3 late winners in 4 derbies. Michael Owen, Paul Scholes and Wayne Rooney being the 3 to get it. Michael Carrick, who was involved in that team, issues some instructions. Pep Guardiola stands with his hands in his pockets on this near side. It's a ball long forward for Manchester United. Marcus Rashford creeping in round the back in between Walker and Fernandinho. It is the Brazilian centre-back of Fernandinho that manages to get there first. City play the ball forward. De Bruyne does the chasing. Eventually Phil Jones knocks it back to David De Gea, and here's Victor Lindelof back to De Gea again, who goes long towards the halfway line. Fernandinho's in acres of space and able to take that down. Here's Rodri for Manchester City. Mahrez, Walker on the halfway line, out to the right hand side for Mahrez. Old Trafford is raucous on BBC Radio Manchester. Benjamin Mendy laid it back to Nicholas Otamendi. Otamendi square to Fernandinho, central, midway inside the Manchester City half. 12 gone on BBC Radio Manchester. It remains goalless between Manchester United and Manchester City. Mendy again on the left-hand side, a yard in from the touchline, strokes it into the feet of Gundogan. Return pass to the French international. Fernandinho. Benjamin Mendy's made 17 appearances this season, incidentally. That doubles what he's achieved in his previous 2 years with the club due to injuries. Out on the right is Manchester City. Here's De Bruyne, flicks it into the middle. It's over the head of Ilkay Gundogan. Won't reach Raheem Sterling. Will come to Benjamin Mendy via the head of Manchester United. Sterling, Gundogan. Sterling brings it infield on his right foot. Here's Rodri for Manchester City. He can hit them. We've seen that on a couple of occasions. Chooses not to this time. Mahrez, Walker. Low to the feet of Mahrez and back to Rodri. Out to the left for Benjamin Mendy. Manchester City patient in their build-up. 13 gone on BBC Radio Manchester, and it's still goalless. Mendy, it's a lovely bit of keep ball from Manchester City. It's tight, but they're working it well. Now out to the right-hand side for Kyle Walker and Riyad Mahrez. De Bruyne just peels away. Walker and Rodri inside the centre circle. Fernandinho inside the Manchester City half now. City pressured to play the ball back. Mendy in front of his manager Pep Guardiola, can't play the ball down the channel, and for all that build-up play, Paul Dickoff, it just takes one false pass and the whole thing breaks down.
Yeah, United, get very disciplined without the ball. With the 4-5-1 when they've not got the ball. And City really, really patient possession, using it well. And there's a little bit sloppy there by Benjamin Mendy. Raheem Sterling's came short to spin in behind to try and stretch United. He's just a little bit too late with the ball. But as much as we expected, City controlling possession, and United looking to hit them on the break with the pace they've got up front.
Can Rashford get in between? Walker and Fernandinho again, no is the answer. The City pair just about mop up the ball between them. And Kyle Walker now knocks it back to Claudio Bravo, cladded all in green this evening for Manchester City. His opposing number in David De Gea. He's all in a shade of purple. But of course, out on the field, it is the traditional red versus blue. Quarter of an hour gone. Arthur Albiston, former Manchester United defender. Are you pleased with what you've seen from the Reds?
I am, yeah, actually. Although City have enjoyed a decent bit of possession, especially the last 5 minutes, that's what we expected. It's been quite an open game and quite fast and furious and exciting for the fans. Some of the games we've had here recently have been a bit sterile, especially at the beginning, and this suits us to make it quite fast and furious.
Yeah, Manchester United certainly enjoyed that at the Etihad Stadium in December. Here's Rodri, gets the ball past the centre circle as they move it to the right hand side for De Bruyne, who has to go left-footed, and Brandon Williams intercepts. Here's Rashford across the halfway line. Williams is infield if he chooses to use him, and Walker just stayed off the back of Marcus Rashford there and has managed to win Manchester City a throw-in in the process. Here's De Bruyne. Fernandinho wearing the captain's armband for Manchester City. Mike Summerby in the crowd tonight. Blues legend, won many a trophy with the Blues in the late 60s, early 70s. Here's Fernandinho for Manchester City, midway inside the City half, moving the ball out to the far side. Manchester City fans happy with what they've seen in this opening quarter of an hour or so. Onto Mendy, Benjamin Mendy on this left hand side, under the pressure of Daniel James, and now Gundogan has to wriggle his way past Andreas Pereira and Mason Greenwood. City happy to play it around the back with Nicolas Otamendi and Claudio Bravo on the edge of his D, well out of his own goal line. Now wants to go long and ping it all the way to the right hand side where Mahrez can head it down into the feet of Kyle Walker, 5 yards or so inside the Manchester United half. De Bruyne, Walker, the Walker-Mahrez De Bruyne combination linking up well, as it so often did over Christmas. Here's Bernardo Silva. Does he fancy the drive? What a goal from Bernardo Silva to give Manchester City first blood in the League Cup semi-final. Stepped in field from the right-hand side, just outside the penalty area, and first blood is blue blood in the derby. Bernardo Silva, top left corner. It's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1.
What a sensational strike by Bernardo Silva. City nice and patient in the build-up. Kyle Walker driving through and just knocks it off to Bernardo Silva outside the box, gets it out his feet and sticks it right in the top corner with his left foot. Great finish. And I was just going to say, Mike, a few seconds ago, I was looking at Victor Lindelof and Phil Jones, and because they didn't have MD to pick up, they were looking over to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to see who should push in, Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne, because they didn't quite know what to do. But City, the way they've set up, loads of possession, but Kevin De Bruyne and there, but Bernardo Silva getting in that little pocket of space, turning 22 yards out right in the top corner. What a goal.
Arthur Albiston.
Well, it's unstoppable, isn't it? But you've got to expect that from the calibre that City have got, especially Silva on that right-hand side, cutting in his left. Mahrez has been over there as well. You've got to be prepared. Somebody's got to go out and meet it, and one of the centre-backs, either of them, the more experienced, you've got to get out and close it and commit yourself and hope that you get a block in it, but no chance once it's left his left foot there.
17 gone in the Manchester derby. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1, and the voices singing loud and proud are the ones of Manchester City fans away to our right hand side in front of the Stretford end. Bernardo Silva opens the scoring in this League Cup semi-final first leg. Manchester City have it midway inside their own half with Fernandinho out to the right hand side, where all that started before the wonder goal from Bernardo Silva. It was a lovely curling effort, top left corner. The slow motion replays make it look even more magical than it was, and Manchester United trail Manchester City here at Old Trafford. City love playing here. They'd only won one of the previous 39 as Bravo has to come out of his goal. James racing through. Bravo does just about enough. Prior to the last decade, Manchester United have won just one of 39 games at Old Trafford. They've won 6 of their last 9. It's looking like 7 in their last 10 as it stands. Pep Guardiola waves his team forward. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stands hands in pockets with his black overcoat on the edge of his technical area here at Old Trafford. Out to the left-hand side it goes, the far side for the Reds in this first half on BBC Radio Manchester. Williams goes back to Jones and now square to Lindelof, who'll receive a little bit of pressure from Kevin De Bruyne. 18 gone, 1-0 Manchester City. Here's Phil Jones for the Reds. Strokes it central for Fred, who has to go back to his goalkeeper. Yeah, he's back to where he should be aiming for, Fred. And back to David De Gea he goes, who goes long, but it's intercepted by Gundogan on the halfway line. Mahrez tries to knock it into the path of Gundogan and can't, and out to the far side it goes for Mason Greenwood, who now moves to the far side. Marcus Rashford more central. And here's Sterling to take control of the ball inside the Manchester City half on the edge of the centre circle. Back to Claudio Bravo they go. Still this game carries the same frenetic energy that it carried before the Manchester City goal. And City win a throw in 10 yards inside their own half on that far side. What do Manchester United do now, Arthur Alveston, to get themselves back level in this game?
Well, first of all, they don't panic. That's number one. They've got to keep their head and actually keep playing. They've made a decent start to the game. They've tried to take the game to City when they can. For the last 5-10 minutes, they've been chasing the ball a little bit, but you've got to expect you've got to do that. But to try and get chances off our players up front, we've got to bite the bullet really and make sure we close City down as they make another build-up now.
Here's Walker on the right-hand side as City do go again to that danger man Bernardo Silva, encouraged to shoot by the Manchester City fans. Mahrez has it on the right-hand corner of the penalty area. He's got Walker on the overlap. Mahrez might fancy this alone. It's still Riyad Mahrez. Deflected shot in the end. That would have been some goal from the Algerian, nominated for African Player of the Year this week as well. Mendy strokes it in field to Raheem Sterling, up against Fred. Pereira involved too, and it's actually Pereira who makes the challenge in the end, but only temporary relief for Manchester United as Bernardo Silva picks it up again for Manchester City. Rodri, Walker chips it into his own half. Almost too much on that, and Bravo comes and collects it midway inside the Manchester City half. Mendy on the left on the halfway line. Here's Kevin De Bruyne. Floats it out to the far side. Kyle Walker awaits. He brings it down. Fernandinho. 20 gone here at Old Trafford, and it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1 on BBC Radio Manchester. Bernardo Silva. Walker on the right-hand touchline, that far side, under the pressure of Brandon Williams. Impressed since coming through from the academy of Manchester United. Walker's ball in field is poor. Pereira will try and pick it up for Manchester United. Eventually the control does go back. David De Gea is going to have to play that first time across the halfway line. A little bit rash, a little bit hurried, a little bit panicky from Manchester United. And the ball is now with Bravo on the edge of his own D inside the Manchester City half. 1-0 the Blues lead. Here's Fernandinho. Strolls forward casually out to the right hand side, just pushes the ball into the path of Kyle Walker on the halfway line, 5 yards infield for Manchester City. Bernardo Silva square to Kevin De Bruyne, lays it off to Rodri. Lovely one-touch football from the Blues, and out to the left it goes for Benjamin Mendy. Now De Bruyne. Mendy again goes square to his right hand side to find Rodri. Back to Benjamin Mendy. Otamendi. Bernardo Silva on the centre spot, carries the ball 20 yards inside the Manchester United half. Still Bernardo Silva under the challenge, the sliding challenge of Jesse Lingard, who won the ball fairly to the referee Mike Dean, and there has been an injury to Bernardo Silva. Let's bring in Paul Dickov, and after Paul Dickov it will be the voice of Liam Bradford.
I thought that's a foul for me all day long. Bernardo Silva's been outstanding, especially the last 10-12 minutes. Driving it, and Lingard's come in from behind him here. Just watching it again here, he's nowhere near the ball. He goes right through the back of him, and it's a foul. But City, from about sort of 9-10 minutes onwards, have completely dominated. And Manchester United are in a position at the minute. I spoke about the two centre halves not knowing what to do. 1 minute they're not picking up Andy, the next minute it's De Bruyne, it might be Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling's been in there as the false nine, and what is causing Fred and Pereira a lot of problems as well, because sometimes City have got 4 central midfield players in the middle of the park, and as soon as they go and try and press it, that's when City look to switch the play and get Bernardo Silva, Raheem Sterling and Riyad Mahrez in the ball.
Voice of Paul Dickov on BBC Radio Manchester as Manchester City bringing the ball forward again through Ilkay Gundogan. Under pressure from Jesse Lingard, finds a pass back to Kyle Walker, and Fernandinho in the centre circle. Crossfield ball now to Otamendi and out to Benjamin Mendy. Has to retreat to the centre half, Nicolas Otamendi. And I've got to say that I agree with Paul Dickov that was probably a foul on Bernardo Silva on the edge of the penalty area. What I can't understand is why he was holding his head when the tackle came in on his left foot. See if I can see another replay and figure out what's gone on there, as Manchester City keep possession and play through the Manchester United press. And now out on the right hand side with Kyle Walker striding away from one. Brandon Williams tries to make a tackle. Kyle Walker's got it back in the penalty area. Cross ball comes in. Sterling with the strike. It's back to Sterling, blocked by Phil Jones and away by Brandon Williams, but not past Kevin De Bruyne, who's picked it up on the right hand side. Manchester City turning the screw, leading by a goal to nil. Ball into the middle, turned away by Phil Jones. And now Fred tries to team up with Brandon Williams, who eventually manages to smash the ball high and clear and up towards Jesse Lingard, who's wrestling with Rodri in the middle of the park. Mason Greenwood's going to pick this one up. Can he get away? No, he can't, because Jesse Lingard has made the foul, and it's going to be a free kick to Manchester City. And every time United look to try and break down the field, Paul Dickoff, Manchester City's midfield more than up to it.
Yeah, they are. You know, as I said, Liam, before, sometimes City are playing with 4 central midfielders and no centre forward. At time they're playing with 1 central midfielder and 3 centre forwards. You know, so tactically you've got to say that Pep's got it absolutely bang on. You know, but Kyle Walker has been a real threat down the right hand side as well. You know, great move by City. The wide men keep tucking inside to get the full-backs down the side, and you know, it's 2 great blocks by the Man United defenders there to keep them in the game.
Brandon Williams has had a bit of a tough 2 or 3 days. He's had to deal with Adama Traore on Saturday, and he's got Kyle Walker today, Arthur Alston, both speed merchants, but he's putting up a fair fight, I think.
He is, but he needs some help over there, because like Fred or Pereira's got to get out there, and they're not the most defensive types of players.
Long ball forward, sorry Arthur, is going to be headed up in the air by Fernandinho. Benjamin Mendy with the ball at his feet just turns and hoofs it clear, and Manchester United's going to watch this run out for a Manchester United throw. Sorry Arthur, carry on.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not as if you've got a Robson or a Keane there to get across and get some tackles in for you. Fred and Pereira are better with the ball rather than without it.
There's nobody really doing the defensive hard yards from midfield, as Phil Jones nearly caught in possession again by Riyad Mahrez, and it comes to the left hand side, and Brandon Williams, whose first thought has always been, every time I've seen him, to try and get forward, he does it again here, scampers away from the first one, slides a pass into the feet of Mason Greenwood. Greenwood comes back in field, Jesse Lingard edge of the penalty area, tries to get the ball square to Marcus Rashford, and potentially the wrong choice from the Manchester United number 10 today, as probably the easier option was to drive the ball into the penalty area. Manchester City bringing the ball away through the Argentinian Otamendi, out to the left hand side, and Mendy forward to Raheem Sterling, back to Mendy, and he's going to come all the way back to Nicolas Otamendi, and now Rodri carrying the ball through the centre circle, finds De Bruyne on the right hand side, further right Riyad Mahrez, back to De Bruyne, now in field to Rodri lifts one up and over to the left hand side, and Benjamin Mendy in acres of space brings the ball down on his chest, and then white club boots send it back to Otamendi. And Manchester City are just going through one of those possession phases where they hold on to the ball, but it's the quick passes that you've got to watch that get them through midfield, as Otamendi brings it up to halfway, and now Gundogan back to Otamendi and out to Mendy on the halfway line on the left hand side. Otamendi to Fernandinho with some space to move the ball forward, so he carries it up towards the halfway line, and now forward to Mahrez back to Rodri. Manchester City hold the ball incredibly well, Paul Dickoff. This clinical passing is an absolute joy to watch, isn't it?
It is, but it's the rotation of them as well, Liam. You know, 1 minute De Bruyne is out wide, the next minute he's playing as centre forward, the same with Raheem Sterling, the same with Bernardo Silva, and United don't really know how to cope with it at the minute. You know, the first 10 minutes they kept their shape really, really well and made it difficult for Man City, but they're chasing the ball a little bit now and losing their shape, and when that happens against Manchester City, it's only a matter of time before they cut through you.
United have seen an opportunity to get a high press going here, and Otamendi's just going to have to clear his lines, which he does well, doesn't get it past Lindelof, and it's brought down by Bernardo Silva. Gundogan well inside his own half, he's going to have to play a pass from the edge of the penalty area back to Claudio Bravo. Dan James is going to close down Nicolas Otamendi, but he's always got that outlet ball to Benjamin Mendy. Arthur Alston, how do you deal with this? How do you press a Manchester City side that are so adept at moving the ball?
Well, it's demoralising, I can tell you. I'm getting tired just watching them here. You can't do it in 1s and 2s, you've got to do it in 3s and 4s to try and get the ball back. But City have got that many players that can hurt you with the ball, and what I like about them is they've got plenty of players that can dribble with the ball, like we're seeing Silva there, that crossfield pass is cut out, they're not greedy with the ball. They'll give it you and they'll move it, and they know they're demoralising the opposition because United can't get near them at the moment.
As Fred goes in on Raheem Sterling, and then a crunching tackle from Phil Jones is legal. My goodness me, there was everything in that. Blood, thunder, ball, boots everywhere, and Raheem Sterling has to pop back up again because there's absolutely nothing unfair about it. It's out of play over on that far side for a throw-in for Manchester City, taken quickly by De Bruyne. Out to the right-hand side, and Mahrez with Fred trailing in his wake. Finds a pass back to the centre of midfield, and then out to the right-hand side again for Mahrez. Mahrez carrying the ball in field, and he's going to switch play out to the left-hand side, and Benjamin Mendy, who brings it down on his chest and finds Raheem Sterling hugging the touchline. Back to Mendy, who comes in field and fires one across for Rodri in the centre circle. He brings it back into the Manchester United half after bringing it under control, and Manchester United have now sat in to try and deal with this Manchester City attack. Headed away by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Dan James flicks it on again, but it only finds the boots of Rodri, and back it goes to Claudio Bravo for more Manchester City possession as we approach half an hour played at Old Trafford. Long raking ball from Bravo, tries to get it out to Sterling. Sterling does really well to hold it in, and now Aaron Wan-Bissaka's one-on-one with Raheem Sterling. Into the penalty area he comes. Can he get a ball across? He can't, because he slips as he tries to make contact with the left foot, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka just holding his ground to give Manchester United a little bit of relief, Arthur.
Yeah, fantastic ball from Bravo there, diagonally one side the pitch to the other. Sterling done ever so well to get it under control, and then did the sort of, unusually for him, the sloppy bit really. He sort of hurried himself.
Fred goes down under the challenge from Bernardo Silva, and it's a free kick to Manchester United, but Paul Dickoff, that movement from Manchester City is sublime.
It is, and they've showed they can do it both ways as well. You know, that was a 40-yard ball from Claudio Bravo there. Raheem Sterling keeping his width. But, you know, Manchester United just at the minute, I just think they need to regroup without the ball more than anything else.
Dan James attacking the penalty area, tries to get a ball across. It's deflected off the shins of Benjamin Mendy. It's going to go out for a corner, but that long ball out to the right-hand side, and Benjamin Mendy, who had just tucked in and just switched off for half a second, watches Dan James escape down the right-hand side. Eventually, Mendy gets the block in, but the corner has been given away, and Fred the Brazilian is going to take this right-wing corner for Manchester United as the gusting wind around Old Trafford blows it around the spot. Flag goes up on this near side. Corner's going to have to be retaken because the ball wasn't placed in the quadrant. Fred suggesting that it's quite difficult to keep it in the quadrant with the swirling wind. I would suggest, I don't understand what benefit you get from placing the ball right on the edge of the corner quadrant like that. This time it's going to be delivered into the penalty area, headed back to Fred on the Manchester United right-hand side. Left-footed, finds Andreas Pereira, swings one in, chance at the back post potentially for Lindelof, headed away by Fernandinho. Kyle Walker quickest out to it, he's going to try an over-the-top ball for Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne unusually can't bring this one under control, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, defending at left centre-half instead of right-back, manages to collect the ball for Manchester United, and the boos ring round Old Trafford because the United fans are desperate for Manchester United to get on the front foot. Brandon Williams just inside the Manchester City half has to go back to Phil Jones, the centre half, wide to Victor Lindelof, and now on again to Fred forward to Greenwood. Fred goes down as he slips, as he releases the pass. Wan-Bissaka with a back heel to Fred, ball up over the top, is headed away by Fernandinho, and then hooked clear again by Benjamin Mendy. Headed down by Manchester United's Victor Lindelof, but only to Bernardo Silva, who's carrying the ball forward. Oh, it's come all the way through to Mahrez. He's rounded the goalkeeper, and it's a double for Manchester City as they extend their advantage. Fantastic finish from Mahrez as he rounded David De Gea, but it's Victor Lindelof who's going to be questioned here. His slight tackle missed. Manchester City take advantage. They've doubled their advantage in the derby. United 0, City 2. Paul Dickoff.
Yeah, we'll talk about City being fantastic and passing. Just a hopeful long ball from Benjamin Mendy. Lindelof is up against Riyad Mahrez in the air. He should be clearing at 30-40 yards. Instead, he scuffs off the top of his head onto Bernardo Silva, cuts inside, fantastic ball into Riyad Mahrez, one-on-one with De Gea round the goal, and you've got to say it's no more than Manchester City deserve. They've been absolutely outstanding for the first 32 minutes of this game.
for a Manchester United point of view, Arthur Ulverston, they didn't pick up their man for Bernardo Silva's goal, and that's another individual defensive error to let them in for the second.
Yeah, he's picked a ball up there in the centre circle from Lindelof's misplaced header. He's picked a ball up. Pereira's trying to read it as if he's going to win it, and I'd say, look, no, just make sure you stay goal side of the Silva, because he gets past you with the ball, you've got a big problem. That's exactly what's happened. Lindelof didn't cover himself in any glory either, trying to defend that, and I think he got a little nick in it, which helped the ball through to Mahrez, round the keeper, 2-0.
And Manchester United now have a huge mountain to climb in this tie as they try and press the ball again. Manchester City, as it stands, taking a 2-goal advantage back to the Etihad Stadium. 11 minutes to play in the first half here at Old Trafford, and City leading by 2-0. Another long ball forward, this time cut out by Phil Jones. Lindelof pokes a ball forward to Lingard, but Lingard's control is poor and the ball's free and downfield as David De Gea tries to turn this one away. It is a yellow card for Jesse Lingard as he tried to recover, has slid into the Manchester City player who's still down here, and the referee has got the first yellow card of the game out of his pocket. What did you make of it, Paul Dickoff?
Yeah, it's a yellow card. No, Jesse Lingard's got to be careful. That's possibly 3 fouls he's gave away now, and it's probably born out of frustration, because the Manchester United players at the minute are chasing shadows. Lingard just loses control of it. Fernandinho's been outstanding, and Lingard goes in, studs up, so he's going to have to be careful now. It's frustration in the crowd, frustration from the Manchester United players. But I'll just go back to that Lindelof header for the goal. He's 6'2", 6'3" up against Riyad Mahrez, and we all know how good he is with the ball. Riyad Mahrez isn't going to beat you in the air or even compete, and his header was so poor, so tame, and then City pick up the second ball, and as Arthur said before, Lindelof didn't cover himself with any glory at all there.
No glory whatsoever from the Iceman, Victor Lindelof. Out to the left-hand side for Manchester City. Mendy tries to find Gundogan as Wan-Bissaka tries to find Marcus Rashford. Rashford does well to hold off Fernandinho, manages to turn, but now he needs an outlet, tries to slide it through to Dan James, but just a bit too much on it, and it is Fernandinho that can rake the ball clear, but only as far as Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Pereira finds Fred. Fred's going to try and switch this out to the left-hand side, and Brandon Williams, who gets a scamper on to collect this one next to the corner flag. He's up against Kyle Walker, finds a pass to Jesse Lingard, who's just gone in the book for that stretching, lunging tackle. Through into the penalty area, through to Mason Greenwood. Greenwood with the strike, but he's scuffed it on the way through, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. And I just wonder, Arthur, whether his eyes lit up there, Mason Greenwood, and he's just hurried himself into taking the shot.
Yeah, he's usually a little bit more clinical than that. If he misses a target, he only just misses. He's just off balance there as he's hitting that. Couldn't set himself up, and he's sort of scuffed it really wide.
Manchester City fans making their feelings well known away to our right-hand side. Apologies if you've picked anything up on the FX microphone here at Old Trafford in terms of bad language. Manchester City, though, talking great language on the football field. The passing has been exemplary from the blue side of Manchester. It's Manchester United in possession on the halfway line with Brandon Williams. Forward to Jesse Lingard, who's dropped a little bit deeper here to allow Andreas Pereira forward. Lindelof finds Phil Jones. Phil Jones under pressure from De Bruyne, hasn't got an outlet ball to the left-hand side, throws his hands up in frustration as Brandon Williams, who's maybe just got a little bit too far advanced. United try a long ball downfield, which is dealt with by Nicolas Otamendi. Raheem Sterling can't bring this one under control, and it's out for a throw-in on this near side, which Aaron Wan-Bissaka thinks about taking quickly and then just holds off. And Manchester United need to provide him a target here. Nobody's moving for him, and he can't quite try and squeeze his way through. So what he does is throws it past Marcus Rashford, who can't get anything on it, and now it's back with Claudio Bravo under a little bit of pressure from Dan James, who causes the Chilean goalkeeper to launch it downfield. Manchester United have possession back, 2-0 down in the first of 2 legs of this EFL Cup semi-final at Old Trafford. 7 minutes to go until we get to the break, plus any time added on. Lindelof to Fred in the centre circle, nearly given away again by Manchester United. Pereira does well to turn and find a little bit of space, and he's got Aaron Wan-Bissaka down the right hand side. Wan-Bissaka thinking to get the ball forward. That's exactly what he does. He's up to the edge of the penalty area. Dan James tries a clever flick round the corner to Marcus Rashford, but it's not good enough, and it gives Manchester City an opportunity to break. Ball through the middle, Riyad Mahrez up against Brandon Williams. Williams does fantastically. De Bruyne though picks it up inside the penalty area. De Bruyne, and it's deflected off Andreas Pereira, and it's gone in. Save from David De Gea, ended up in the path of Pereira, and Manchester City make it 3, and Manchester United are staring down barrel of defeat inside the first 45 minutes of a two-legged semi-final. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 3. Paul Dickoff.
City again, just absolutely devastating on the break. The ball breaks down, there's two little skirmish in the middle of the park, and the ball comes into Bernardo Silva again, puts Mahrez through. You've got to say, young Brandon Williams does great. The ball comes to De Bruyne on the left-hand side, cuts inside, does Phil Jones. De Gea saves, but it bounces back and in off Pereira. But Manchester City, absolutely devastating. And I hate to say this, but for the 40 minutes of the 38 minutes of this game, it's been absolutely men against boys, and Manchester City against Manchester United. They are back to their best.
And let me just tell you, we are having a little VAR check on this one whilst we try and figure out what's going on. Goal's been given, we've restarted play. Manchester United have got a back four here, only one of which so far has given themselves any kind of hope of a starting berth for the next game for me, and that's Brandon Williams, Arthur Alveston, who did so well to get across to that. And it's loose in the penalty area again this time. Phil Jones gives away a corner as he gets the ball clear. And just as I was saying, none of the back four have covered themselves in any glory other than Brandon Williams, who I think has been brilliant for Manchester United. Another mistake.
Another mistake, trying to play our way out where we're not good enough. We're not in City's league to do that, and we end up giving a corner away from our own possession.
Manchester City have been absolutely clinical inside the opening 45 minutes, and they've got another opportunity here to deliver a ball into the penalty area. Gundogan slides it down the right hand side. Mahrez back to Gundogan next to the D, out to the left hand side of Mendy, who's just going to stand one up into the middle, this time headed away by Phil Jones, but picked up by Gundogan. Clever ball into Raheem Sterling, who's offside, and the flag's up. And this, however it pans out, will not count. As it turns out, it's been put behind, and it will be a free kick for Manchester United. But again, Paul Dickoff, Manchester City with the ability to move the ball at will through that Manchester United defence.
Yeah, it is, but they're picking up the second balls as well, Liam. The form, you've got to say it's been a tactical masterclass so far by Pep. Playing without a centre forward, having the quadruple, if you like, of Mahrez, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Raheem Sterling. They're just interchanging, they're popping up all over the place. And I'll keep saying it, the United back four, especially the two centre-halves, they don't know how to cope with it.
Phil Jones has struggled, Victor Lindelof has struggled, Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been out of the game really. He's not had an awful lot to do, but again, Manchester City bringing the ball forward. Brandon Williams steps out from left back to try and recover the ball for Manchester United. Phil Jones has got his arms out to his side. I've no idea what Phil Jones is doing there, Arthur Alveston.
Well, you've always got something that can get you out of trouble from that position. If you're not comfortable, you're not confident, you can just launch the ball into their half and just angle it into a channel. You'll never get into trouble for doing that.
Phil Jones, again, not covering himself in glory. We said before the game that he needed to take the opportunity that had been given to him. I'm not sure he's done that at the moment. And Manchester City in fine voice, both on and off the field, as they lead in the derby before half-time in the first leg of this two-legged semi-final by 3-0. We've got 3 minutes plus any time added on as Pep Guardiola points his team forward, standing there almost like the Statue of Liberty, showing them where he wants the ball to go. Fernandinho receives a loose pass from Kyle Walker, but Manchester City can comfortably get back and pick it up under no pressure from Manchester United. And now Sterling and Silva manage to set Manchester City away again. Mahrez finds a pass to the right hand side, and De Bruyne cross into the middle, chance, and Raheem Sterling, goal beckoning, full stretch admittedly, has put it wide. That was an opportunity to be 4 goals to the good before we got to the break, Paul Dickoff.
And it should have been fantastic football again, City in the middle of the park. Quick interplay, Mahrez out to De Bruyne, what a fantastic ball in. If anything, Raheem Sterling's getting there, a little bit of too much pace in the ball, but you've got to say that he's got to score there, but he's been let off a little bit, so I think it would have been offside. But City again, just cutting through the United midfield. United haven't even put a glove on Man City at the minute.
The opening 15 minutes from Manchester United was as good as it got. Since then, it's been all blue in this Manchester derby, and United are going to have to find some solutions, Arthur Olveston. They're going to have to find them quickly.
Well, they are, and unfortunately I've played in a few games where you're getting the run around in the middle of the park. It's vital that they get closer. Lindelof's trying to play out of defence again, caught with the ball, sitting at you again.
Mahrez into the penalty area, and he gets a ball across. Raheem Sterling hits his standing foot. There's an opportunity to make it 4. Manchester United have got away with another one as Marcus Rashford chips it out to the Manchester United right. Aaron Wan-Bissaka pokes it forward to Rashford. Rashford back to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and Bissaka brings the ball forward out to the right hand side, and Rashford though watches all of the options blocked off by Manchester City because they weren't able to move the ball quick enough, and all of the routes through have closed. So United switch the play to the left hand side. Brandon Williams to Fred to Pereira. Pereira thinks about a ball to Wan-Bissaka, then plays that ball. Wan-Bissaka though has got Raheem Sterling to deal with, so comes back in field to Pereira. Pereira comes all the way back to Phil Jones on the edge of the centre circle, and all of the impetus in this Manchester United attack appears to have gone. Rashford to Pereira. Pereira's going to try one from distance, and it's poor from the Brazilian. It's way over the top, and not what Manchester United needed at this stage of the game, Arthur Olveston.
No, you just made a comment there. Pereira thinks about playing the ball to Wan-Bissaka. The difference is City, when they pass it without thinking, and that split second quicker just makes the guy receiving the ball have more options.
40 seconds to go until we get to the break here, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a huge half-time team talk to deliver here. He's going to have to change something. I don't know what it is. Pep Guardiola will be going in with his smoking jacket on, Paul Dickoff, lighting a big cigar, knowing that the job's pretty much done, not only for this game but potentially for the entire tie.
Yeah, but just got to be very, very careful. But Pep Guardiola, as he is and the sort of character is, he'll be wanting this team to go for more. The intensity that he shows has been shown in his team tonight, and I'm just, as good as Manchester City have been, and this is probably one of the best performances first half I've seen from them since last season, but United have not had a shot on target. I can't remember Claudio Bravo having to make a save. The pressing in ones and twos, and as that's happening sometimes, as a team, I've came to Old Trafford loads of times as a player and had the absolute run around because the team was that good. But you've got to respect the team you're playing against and maybe just get into that really good shape of a 4-5-1 and stop City. But because they're just, every time they get the ball, they look as if they're going to score.
I think the board's just gone up with 4 minutes on it. I'm not quite sure where 4 minutes has come from. Manchester United could be 6 down by the time we get to the break with 4 minutes of time added on at the moment, because Lindelof's made another error at the back. He's released Raheem Sterling, who lifts the ball over the top, but only into the path of Fred, who goes steaming into a challenge with Rodri, and he's conceded the foul. Oh no, he hasn't. He has been fouled.
Dean give it that way?
I have absolutely no idea, Paul Dickoff, because I have just said exactly that as Fred concedes the foul, but he hasn't. The referee, Mike Dean, has given the free kick to Manchester United. What did you make of it?
Rodri's got to the ball, he's played the ball and he's passed it infield, and Fred's just ended up clattering and going all the way through him, studding him right down the side of his ankle. Mike Dean's standing watching that. I think the fact that Fred's went down screaming first, he's done it as a reaction, but that's just a ridiculous decision by Mike Dean, but that doesn't surprise me. I'm not his biggest fan, by the way.
You can't tell, Paul. I've just seen the replay of that, and it's horrific, that challenge from Fred.
If anything, it's a yellow card.
It should easily be a yellow card. He's raked his studs down the leg of the man in a lunging fashion. For me, it could be more than a yellow card. The referee, Mike Dean, now blows the whistle for half-time, and the boos ring round Old Trafford. Manchester United fans unhappy with a lacklustre opening 45 minutes from Manchester United, but Manchester City have been imperious in the opening spell here. They are leading at the break by 3-0. Wow, Mike Maine, that was a footballing lesson from Manchester City.
It was, yeah. In the first 15 minutes, Manchester United largely held Manchester City at bay, and I think I used the words, it's tense, it was nervous, it was, it seemed one of those that a break would happen and it would just be a case of who for. Bernardo Silva with a moment of genius to score that goal. In slow motion it looks even better, curling from the right hand side of the box into the top left hand corner, and as you say, from then on, Liam, it became too easy for Manchester City. It was attack versus defence, a training ground exercise. Suddenly every time City played a ball forward, a cutting through pass, it found another blue shirt, and the United defence, whether it was Jones, Lindelof, even Aaron Wan-Bissaka at times, but particularly the two centre-backs that have exposed Manchester United. You think Sterling at the left post should have had a fourth, a couple of other opportunities. The 6-1 a decade ago was United's lowest point. That easily could have been 6 in the first half. Manchester City were that good. This game is a world away from the December derby, a world away.
I think, in my opinion, Paul Dickoff, that Manchester United have tried to play exactly the same game that they played at the Etihad, but they've been undone by Pep Guardiola being a far better tactician.
100%. I couldn't agree with you more, Liam. You know, for 25 minutes, it was only 25 minutes, mind you, at the Etihad, but we United were electric. But he's changed the formation slightly tonight, and you know, I keep saying it, but Bernardo, Silva, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Sterling, and even Gundogan sometimes have been playing as a false number 9. The rotation in the middle of the park, you know, I think Pereira and Fred are going dizzy sometimes because they don't know who to pick up. It doesn't look as if there's any communication from the centre halves into the midfielders. In City, the players have been absolutely fantastic, but credit's got to go to Pep Guardiola for the team he's picked, how he set them up. And United at the minute are miles and miles away from Manchester City. It's going to be interesting to see what happens coming out in the second half.
Mike Mine and Paul Dickoff, thank you very much indeed for your efforts in the opening 45 minutes. We'll be back to you for the start of the second half. You're more than welcome to go and get yourself a cup of tea, and if you fancy bringing me one back, I would be delighted. Some tweets for you. Andrew Ennis says, who would want to sign for Manchester United? Honestly, club's rotten to the core. The board, the management, the players, it's a shambles. Us United fans don't deserve that. And then embarrassment in capital letters. FPL says, I'm embarrassed tonight. The performance has been a disgrace. Ollie, change something, please. It's not working. Feeney says, Pep schooling Ollie. Anyone going to be brave enough to guess how many City will score tonight? If Ollie truly cares about United, he'll resign. He's totally out of his depth this evening. In terms of Manchester City, Steve says, what's up with Sterling? He could be 5 up already. Top play from the Blues though. Mark says, it's been said a million times, but Kevin De Bruyne is world class. And Matt says, City are swamping midfield. United need a strong shake at half time. Wow. Manchester United 3 goals down. No sugar, thanks, Mike. That would be great. He's just brilliantly offering me a cup of tea. The BBC Radio Manchester City reporter, Mike Mine. Manchester United 3 goals down at the break. Not only that, second best to every ball, second best in every tackle, and Manchester City planting a footballing lesson on Manchester United. Wow. Second half commentary to come here on BBC Radio Manchester. Meanwhile, let's hear, shall we, about one Taylor Harwood-Bellis, who made his full home debut on Saturday against Port Vale in the FA Cup. The Blues centre-back who's come through the academy has been speaking about that special moment and his development.
Yeah, it's a different feeling when all the fans are there and there's more home fans and they're clapping you and you can hear them shouting things, saying well done and stuff. Yeah, it's a great feeling playing in front of the fans, because obviously I'm a fan, so it's weird being a fan playing on the pitch in front of fans that are in the same boat as me.
I just heard from Pep there, who was on about the academy lads having to listen a lot and learn a lot on the pitch and not out there and on the training ground. How much have you learned this season alone?
More than I've ever learned before. The information the manager gives is, I think, the best in the world, and I'll just take it on board, and whatever he says I'll do happily. But yeah, it's just a case of me learning from other players and listening to the manager and all the coaching staff and buying into what they say, because I believe it's worked and it's working. So yeah, I've just got to keep doing what they say.
And you hope a cup run could mean that you get more games, of course. That's a likelihood, isn't it?
Well, hopefully. It all depends on what I do in training. Keep working hard, keep my feet on the ground, and then see if I'm in the squad. But yeah, I've just got to keep working hard and see what happens.
Yeah, I know last time we spoke, we talked about how Pep had said your reaction when you step back out of the first team is the most important part of developing your career. I mean, you've had to do that. You know, you had those 2 games in the Carabao Cup and then you step back again into the EDS. How different has it been for you?
Yeah, it's different playing with the calibre of players for the first team, then playing for the EDS, but I'll still work my hardest and do everything I can to defend and chip in with goals. But yeah, it won't change my attitude in training or in the game or my mindset or anything like that. I'll just keep going. It's football at the end of the day, and whatever game I play in, I'm going to work my socks off.
One of the Manchester City youngsters coming through, highly rated at the football club, and given his debut against Port Vale at the weekend, I can tell you that the Serbian midfielder Nemanja Matic currently isn't listening to the half-time team talk from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Instead, he's warming up amid the sprinklers inside the half closest to the Stretford end, being put through his paces by the Manchester United strength and conditioning coach as he warms up potentially for an introduction in the second half. Let's hear more, shall we, about these Manchester City youngsters. In the last 12 months, Pep Guardiola's handed debuts to the likes of Eric Garcia, Taylor Harwood-Bellis, and he's continued to develop Angelino and Phil Foden. The Blues boss says he's not here for the sentiments and instead is settling City on the right path.
The young players, they are here, but they deserve to be here. It's not because I am a gentleman or I am a nice guy and I wanted to put young players for this kind of legacy. So if they are here, because they deserve it. They have to listen, they have to work a lot, they don't have to talk much. But when they have quality, of course. So Tommy Doyle helped us in the Carabao Cup against Southampton today, few minutes, and it's good for them. And I understand how it's important for our fans, for the Manchester City fans have people, grew up from here. I love it. I grew up in academy, like we played 2 finals in the Champions League with 7-8 players for the academy. When the people say only we can handle teams like or players like 80-90 million pounds. So I played 2 finals in the Champions League winning Man United with 7 players academy with cost 0. So we can handle it too. So, and of course we have quality like Phil Foden in the team. It's not a big problem to the problem from Bill. It's Gundo there, it's Kevin there, it's David there, it's Bernardo. But we know every time he plays, he's doing the same with Taylor. Taylor played 2 times or 3 times, always played good, and Eric played last time. And that is so important in this competition and this league. Like there are, I don't know how million games and a lot of competitions, and we cannot go with just 2 or 3 players. So it's important because for the future is good, especially for them, but for our club as well.
Pep Guardiola on BBC Radio Manchester. Welcome back to Old Trafford. Manchester United trailing by 3-0 in the first leg of this EFL Cup semi-final, and pretty much if they continue the way they have been doing, you can continue call that tie over as far as I'm concerned, because not good enough in any way, shape or form from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side, trailing the Blues by 3-0. Before the game, I had the chance to catch up with the Manchester United Supporters Trust's Duncan Drasdo. Interesting couple of things that he had to say about the allocation and Manchester United not selling out their seats here. He also spoke to me about recruitment and what Manchester United need to do as we go through the January transfer window.
Yeah, it is a big one, and I think it's had the edge taken off it a bit by the problems with the away allocations, but I still think it's a big game for us. And where United are at the moment, we can't be turning down the chances to get to a final. So massive game, and obviously we've been a derby as well.
Do you think the away allocations problem had a bit of an impact on them not being able to sell out, or what was that all about?
Yeah, I think it could have done, because I think the thing is that fans love cup games because the big away allocation creates the atmosphere and creates the excitement, and everyone's looking forward to it because they know it's going to be a right buzz. And so as soon as you have that, I think it just takes the edge off it, and that could well have actually had an impact. Yeah,
Ollie's had his fair share of injuries to deal with this season. Manchester United look like they'll be slightly weakened tonight. No Scott McTominay, no Paul Pogba. We've still got question marks over Martial and Lingard, whether they're back to fitness. Have United still got enough to do this?
Well, look, I think we are weak. I think the squad is too weak. I think we should have been investing more, and that goes back a few seasons, not just in the last period, but we're definitely looking threadbare. But
you look back at the Spurs game and the City game earlier, and you think I wasn't expecting us to get results out of those, certainly not to win them. And so I'm not going to predict that we're not going to do it, but it's looking pretty tough, isn't it? And especially in midfield, I think we are weak.
And Solskjaer, I think he's trying. I've put on Twitter that it's like trying to repaint the Sistine Chapel with no paint. He's having a tough time of it at the minute until he can get some cover in and a bit of depth in this United squad. It does look tough.
Yeah, very much so. And I'd like to have seen him back better in the summer. And I think it's all very well the idea of getting rid of deadwood, as people call it, with shifting players out. But you should be getting players in before you shift players out, in my view. And I think that's why we're stuck now. We've got a few injuries, and suddenly you're looking at the squad and thinking, where's the midfield in particular? So I think it's a real tough task for him, and he's not really getting a fair crack of the whip yet. But I would hope we're going to get some movement in the transfer market in this month, and he's actually going to get the support he needs to give him a fair chance.
Duncan Drasno essentially being a soothsayer before the game, because Manchester United's midfield has been overrun in the opening 45 minutes. They trail by 3-0. Second half commentary on the way on BBC Radio Manchester with Mike Minay, Paul Dickoff, Arthur Olberston and myself. There has been other sport going on today, and rather more exciting from a Manchester United point of view at least. England forced a dramatic 189-run victory over South Africa late on day 5 in the second test in Cape Town. They needed 3 wickets to draw level at 1-1 in the series, and once again it was that man Ben Stokes who proved to be the match winner, grabbing all of them in the final hour. However, Joe Root, the captain, also held the contribution of Jimmy Anderson, the Lancashire bowler, who took 5 for 40 in the first innings.
We probably were a little bit under par. I think it was probably a little bit trickier than it may have looked, because it's a sort of wicket where it's easy pace, you feel like you get yourself in, and then there was just that odd ball in it, and we didn't negotiate it well. But when we came to bowl, we realised what the threat was. We knew that we were going to have to be disciplined, be ruthless and be patient, and we delivered it. And a number of guys, Jimmy to once again perform how he has done, it just shows why he's the best in the world at what he does. And any given surface he always feels threatening, and credit to him at his age to still be such a weapon in this form of the game, along with the other guys.
Yeah. How did you use him? He's clearly got a side strain, that's obvious. But he wants to carry on, did he?
Yeah, he did. He wants to win games of cricket. He's passionate about performing at the best of his ability and doing everything he can to help the team. And he obviously was a little bit sore. We'll have to see how things go going into PE, and we'll go through all the scans and all the rest of it and see them. But it's great to see him have that desire.
At least there's some local success at Old Trafford for Manchester United. Well, no, not even for Manchester United. He's a Burnley fan, isn't he, Jimmy Anderson? Taking his 28th fifer in that game. What an absolutely incredible cricketer Jimmy Anderson is. So, bring you up to date with what's happening here at Old Trafford. An absolute mauling in the opening 45 minutes from Manchester City sees them 3-0 up. And I've got to say that the goal from Bernardo Silva is absolutely stunning. If you get an opportunity to watch it again, bent into the top left-hand corner, absolutely terrific. Manchester United are on their way back out here, and it looks like we may potentially have an early change in the second half as Nemanja Matic walks out for Manchester United. So definitely a change for them. To talk you through the opening part of the second, your commentary team on BBC Radio Manchester: former United left-back Arthur Olberston, the former Manchester City striker Paul Dickoff. But first, BBC Radio Manchester's Mike Minay.
Thank you, Liam. Nemanja Matic ready to come on for Manchester United. We'll wait to see who for. As we do, the Manchester City team, no changes for them. Bravo in goal, Walker, Otamendi, Fernandinho and Mendy is the back four. De Bruyne, Rodri and Gundogan, the midfield three. Mahrez, Sterling and Bernardo, the front three. So devastating in the opening 45. So for Manchester United, it's definitely going to be De Gea in goal. A back four, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Jones and Williams as the back four. A midfield three, two of Pereira and Fred, with James, Rashford and Nemanja Matic in the midfield, Greenwood up top. So it's Lingard who has been replaced by the Serbian of Nemanja Matic. It has been a first half of lessons learnt for Manchester United. One interesting stat is that Andreas Pereira became the first man to score an own goal in a Manchester derby since, you guessed it, Richard Dunn, February the 13th, 2005, in Manchester City's 2-0 home defeat to Manchester United. United in this second half are going to attack the Stretford end. They'll cheer them on all they can. That's meaning United are going from left to right. City now going from left to right is Manchester City attacking their own fans. United going from right to left. They'll want to be much brighter, much more alert, much more on it in the second half than they were certainly in the last half an hour of the first 45. And it's Jones for Manchester United. I guess part of Manchester United's second half memorandum is just to keep the damage limited as Rashford comes through on the left hand side. He'll have to leave the penalty area, but with Walker for company. Here's Fred, left hand corner of the penalty area, lays it outside to Rashford, back into Fred, tight to Williams. It's still Brandon Williams inside the penalty area, low shot, no power, and Claudio Bravo makes a comfortable save, something that they didn't have to do too much of in the opening 45. As Liam said, alongside myself, Mike Miney and Liam Bradford, former Blues striker Paul Dickov, and this man Arthur Albiston. The Reds have a big second 45 ahead, Arthur.
Well, they have. It's a huge one. 3-0 down to local rivals. It's embarrassing at the moment, but they've got to try and get some pride back in this second half. If they can come out winning this second half somehow, that would be, in my opinion, getting some pride back, but they've got to show a far better attitude than they did in the first half.
Well, away goals don't count, so if United could get it to 3-1, 3-2, it gives them all the hope at the Etihad Stadium, perhaps in 3 weeks tomorrow. Wan-Bissaka, well, completely bisects Pereira and James, two red shirts in front of him, and he managed to plonk the ball straight bang in the middle. Walker clears it long. Bernardo Silva will give chase to Lindelof, much criticised in the first half. He's under pressure here from the Portuguese of Bernardo Silva, originally turned towards David De Gea on the edge of his own penalty area.
Yeah, man. Manchester United had to change something. I was just amazed that Ollie didn't try and change it, whether it be personnel or formation, 25 minutes in the first half, because it was so obvious that Manchester City were on top. They were cutting through United, and you know, it's possibly, as I said to them, look, damage limitation, let's try and nick a goal, let's get a bit of pride back, you know. But already we can see City haven't changed that. The four in the middle of the park, I keep talking about it, Bernardo Silva, and Kevin De Bruyne, the interchanging, not just on the ball but off the ball. Again, only a couple of minutes into the second half is clear for everybody to see.
United have a throw midway inside the Manchester City half on this near left hand side. Arthur Albiston, United seem to have gone 4-4-2 in the second half.
Well, yeah, it doesn't really matter which formation they put out on how they want to play. They've all got to run for each other, fight for each other, and try and get some pride back. Game and give these supporters that are here something that they can remember from tonight, other than an embarrassing defeat.
Scott McTominay pictured in the box to our left hand side with crutches clasped to his hands. He's looks like he might be out for some time for Manchester United, and he was so impressive in the December derby, really helped dictate that midfield for Manchester United. Sir Alex Ferguson and Steve McLaren, former manager and assistant manager here at Old Trafford. Wonder what they make of the first half showings. United 0, City 3. United have a throw in on the far side, right on the halfway line, taken by Wan-Bissaka, and then it's a poor back pass from Nemanja Matic, and De Bruyne has it on the left-hand side, squares up against Victor Lindelof, enters the penalty area, lays it off, here's Raheem Sterling, right foot in, the block comes in the end from Brandon Williams, and it was another big opportunity for Manchester City, another big opportunity for Raheem Sterling as Fernandinho clatters into Andreas Pereira and wins a free kick on this near side, on the touchline, pretty much bundled on the runway that runs downwards here at Old Trafford. But United gave the ball away initially, Paul Dickov, and very nearly Sterling had a chance to make it 4.
Yeah, it was. No, Matic just on the pitch, probably a little bit rusty, but it's a poor pass that's put De Bruyne in. De Bruyne, as he does, always finds his man. Sterling gets it out his feet, and a good block.
5 minutes into the second half, 3-0 Manchester City lead here in the derby at Old Trafford. First leg, second leg comes in 3 weeks tomorrow, and we'll have that game live, as we do every Manchester City game, live on BBC Radio Manchester. Here's Mendy on the far left hand side, almost level with his own penalty area, but out on the far touchline, goes back to Bravo, away to our left hand side. Walker tries to knock it on with the outside of his right boot down the touchline, doesn't come off, and Brandon Williams will have the throw in for Manchester United. The voices you hear are those of Manchester City fans in the corner to our right hand side. Jones back to Lindelof, and all the chat at half time was flashbacks to the 6-1 demolition in 2011 and how easy it was for City then. Here come United on the right hand side. Can James beat Otamendi to the ball? Double deflection. It's a goal kick to Manchester City. Arthur Albiston, in what you've seen in the opening 6 minutes of this game, the second half I should say, still trailed 3-0, but are United more positive and more unified in this second 45?
It's difficult. You're losing 3-0 at home. I've played in many a game like this. You've got to go out and show everybody that you can still play the game, basically, but show your teammates that you're going to fight and run for each other. And at least in the first 10 minutes of the second half, it looks like they're trying to do that, but it is tough for them. But somehow they've got to get themselves back into the game, and the only help they get is the players that are around them on that pitch.
Walker on the right hand side, United trying to press. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer waves and balances almost his left arm to his right arm, back to his left. Instructions to the team. Pep Guardiola has a word in the ear of Riyad Mahrez, who I said in the first half was nominated for African Player of the Year. He hasn't won that award. Maybe no surprises that it's gone to Liverpool's Sadio Mane this evening. A yellow card given to Fred, who is furious with Mike Dean for a trip on Bernardo Silva.
Yeah, I don't know what he's arguing about there. Bernardo Silva's sprinting away from him, and he's just down. He knows exactly what he's doing there. He's trying to break up the attack, but he's diving behind him, took him, and it's a definite yellow card. And he's lucky, because he should have been one in the first half as well.
Jesse Lingard was booked in the first half for Manchester United. He replaced by Nemanja Matic at half time. It's Fernandinho for Manchester City. Lead 3-0 on BBC Radio Manchester. And his ball down the far left-hand side is blocked by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. United fans not the quickest to return the ball to the French international. Eventually they do, and he takes the throw in quick 1-2s with Bernardo Silva. And the ball all the way back midway inside the City half with Otamendi, who goes to the edge of his own penalty area to find Claudio Bravo. Here's Gundogan with space to turn into, 10-yard radius around him, out to the left-hand side to find Benjamin Mendy, back into the middle for Gundogan. He drifts one beautifully over the top to find Riyad Mahrez on this right-hand side. Walker makes the run. Does he keep onside? Doesn't matter. Brandon Williams makes the interception, but then can't clear it, and it's Walker to Mahrez. Mahrez enters the penalty area on the right-hand side, wants to pull it back. Jones can't keep it in play. Manchester City corner.
Yeah, great play again by City. Kyle Walker, Riyad Mahrez right in front of us down the right-hand side. But defensively, United are causing themselves all sorts of problems. Phil Jones has just got to get rid of the ball for a start. He's put young Brandon Williams under huge amounts of pressure, and you've got to say that corner to Manchester City.
Which is placed down in the corner and the quadrant by Riyad Mahrez on this near right-hand side at Old Trafford. Directly behind him are the Manchester City fans. Limited allocation tonight, enough chat about that in the build-up. It's a left arm raise, it's a Mahrez delivery, it's a header towards Otamendi, but it's away from Manchester United. Gundogan, Mendy floats one in back to the right hand side. Mahrez chests it down, tight to the byline, pulls it across. The feet of David De Gea prevent it. Or did it go out of play before? Mahrez managed to fire it at De Gea. It looks that way, and it's going to be a goal kick to Manchester United.
Yeah, City again, great ball by Mendy. I don't know what he's given here actually. He's not offside. He's hit it, and it looks as if it's hit De Gea's leg.
Hit the post, I thought, possibly.
Well, Mahrez takes it down on his chest. Maybe it does, but it looks like David De Gea's leg is in the way of the post. So either way, it's not going to matter too much. They are 3-0 up, Manchester City, in this first leg of the semi-final on BBC Radio Manchester. 10 gone in the second half. De Bruyne slips. It allows Matic to get hold of the ball, and now Williams and Jones. But he has to look back and go back to David De Gea, and you can hear Arthur Alberston, former United defender, the frustrations around Old Trafford at that.
Yeah, the crowd can sense that they're watching something different here. It's not often they've had to watch games like this, but they've got to suffer it now. We've had plenty what's been the other way in United's favour, but Jones, I would suggest to him, is every time he gets the ball, just play it forward if you're indecisive.
Walker out to the right hand side. Mahrez is going to have to race to the byline with Brandon Williams, who slides in. Mahrez wants a free kick. He deems it unfair, that challenge from Brandon Williams. A little bit reckless, but it was enough to put Mahrez off, and a goal kick to Manchester United.
Mahrez has done young Brandon Williams a huge favour there. You know, he's got the ball, he's done him, he slipped it through his legs, he's went to absolutely take him out there. And Riyad Mahrez, if he goes down there, Brandon Williams is in trouble, but Riyad Mahrez, trying to be honest, stays on his feet and doesn't even get a foul.
And Brandon Williams on the ball now for Manchester United. 11 minutes into this second half on BBC Radio Manchester, in a big half for United. They conceded 3 goals in the first half without reply. They need to make inroads ready for the second leg in 3 weeks' time in this second half. Otherwise, that is a huge task at the Etihad Stadium. Here's Gundogan out to the left-hand side for Bernardo Silva. Just creeps into the penalty area. Low ball across the box. Ricochets against Victor Lindelof, who kills the ball dead. And David De Gea can pick that up in his hands and allow the penalty area to clear. A sense of urgency wanted from the Old Trafford faithful. It's not something they're getting in these opening 11 minutes of the second half. Here's Rashford just inside the City half. He can't get the ball out to the left for Mason Greenwood, and Manchester City crowd him out with blue shirts. Bravo sends the ball deep over the halfway line. United's ball retention at times has been poor. Here's Mahrez. De Bruyne tries to drop a shoulder. Lives was spotted an infringement on this near side. It's a United free kick. Here's Fred, quickly taken by the Reds. Williams just easily guides his way past Riyad Mahrez, goes into the Manchester City half, central for Rashford, back to Williams. Now Fred takes over, out to the right hand side. Aaron Wan-Bissaka awaits the ball, gets it. Pereira, James round the corner, can't find Pereira again. It comes to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, level with the penalty area on the far side. He brings it in field, needs to lay the ball off. Right footed pass back to the midway inside the City half for Lindelof. Williams again back to the centre circle to find Jones. City have everybody inside their own half. Wan-Bissaka, James on the right hand side, steps in field 10 yards, goes for a little run himself, somehow gets past 2 blue shirts, doesn't find a way past Nicolas Otamendi, leaves a leg in on Nicolas Otamendi. Free kick Manchester City on the edge of their own penalty area. Arthur Alberston.
Well, that's what you get with young, inexperienced players. James has been outstanding in the short period he's been here at Old Trafford. He's not to play in many games like this. He got a little bit lucky with the ball and just left his leg there so that Otamendi would run into it, really. A little bit naughty there.
And the foul given from that naughty James move on Nicolas Otamendi. United 0, City 3. City dominated the 2010s against Manchester United, and they look to start the 20s in roaring fashion. Bravo, short free kick to Nicolas Otamendi, who's back on his feet, didn't receive any treatment on the field. Tae Chong comes down from his warm-up on the side of the pitch to take his place in the dugout. Long ball forward from Manchester City. He sees Riyad Mahrez offside. United take that free kick quickly, don't get very far. In fact, the ball back with Jones, and now Lindelof midway inside the United half towards the halfway line for Greenwood. What can he create? Young and vibrant, but kept quiet tonight by Manchester City. Ball down the right hand side is blocked. Here's Mendy to take control again for City. De Bruyne heads it up in the air, creeping around the back might be Riyad Mahrez here. Over the top it goes. Bernardo Silva isn't going to race onto that. And one thing we remember in all of this, Paul Dickov, is City don't have a recognised striker on the field.
No, you don't. If you look at the bench and you see Gabriel Jesus and Sergio Aguero there, it shows you what a fantastic performance it's been.
A little bit of a late challenge on Claudio Bravo. Mike Dean just trying to calm the play down. Daniel James, who again went in late. He went in on Otamendi just a couple of minutes ago. Here's one in on Bravo as well. Here's Mahrez back to Walker, facing his own goal inside the penalty area to Fernandinho. Now Claudio Bravo away to our left-hand side. Rodri square pass to Otamendi, and Manchester City work their way out of trouble as a little bit of fine rain drifts in over the top of Old Trafford here in Manchester. The front lights on. A lovely, fairly warm evening for the middle of January. City lose possession. United turn the ball over in their favour, but Matic has nowhere to go on the edge of the centre circle. Instead brings it to the right hand side. Pereira, bit of space to operate on the right wing. 15 gone in this second half. Fed through to the channel, and Mason Greenwood to the byline. He squares up against Otamendi. James awaits on the right hand corner of the penalty area. Nowhere to go, has to lay the ball back. Here's Matic, left footed, looks to drive it, maybe enters the penalty area. Can he slide it on through for Greenwood? No, he can't. And United can't break down the Manchester City barrier. Chipped into the middle, it's not going to reach Rashford. Otamendi heads it towards the edge of the penalty area. Matic tries to take control, and on the edge of the D, it's Rodri who storms away with the ball for Manchester City. And Walker now low towards Kevin De Bruyne. Jones beats De Bruyne. And the cheers are meaningful from United, but almost sarcastic that Jones got the better of him. Williams infield, tries to find Greenwood. It's Bernardo Silva who hacks it away for Manchester City towards the halfway line. United pick up the possession again. United 0, City 3. Wan-Bissaka wrestles against Sterling, gets the better of him again and moves across the halfway line. You feel Old Trafford feels a little bit more positive as United build in this second half. Out to the right hand side is James, infield past Mendy. It's Daniel James still for Manchester United, but can't find the crucial pass, and now City bring it away with Sterling. Out to the left for Bernardo Silva. 5 back for United, 3 forward in sky blue for City. One of them's Kevin De Bruyne, tries the flash shot. It might still fall for Sterling, who is impeded. But Mike Dean feels Sterling impeded the United defence a little bit too much. A little bit too much on Nemanja Matic. And it's a free kick to Manchester United. Paul Dickoff's perplexed.
I'll have to see it again, but that looked like a stonewall penalty in Raheem Sterling for me. And how, if there is a push by or a tug by Raheem, I don't understand how Mike Dean can see it. So Royner goes to shoot. Ever so slightly.
Arthur Alveston, what was your take on all of that?
Looks like a penalty to me. Even seeing it again, it looks as if Sterling was impeded there. But Mike Dean's a lot closer than we are, a lot more experienced in this game than we are, so give him the benefit of the doubt, but it looked a penalty.
Fred, as United try to come forward at the other end, both Paul Dickoff, former Blue striker, and the former Reds defender Arthur Alveston in unison that Manchester City should have had a penalty. They lead by 3-0 as it is. United will be thankful to Mike Dean in that one. 17 gone in this second half. A blast forward, running forward from Mason Greenwood, and United have a free kick. Yellow card awarded to Rodri. This is in a very dangerous position. 25 yards from goal, right of centre. Arthur Alveston, you almost feel this has to go in for Manchester United.
Well, they've got to try and work the goalkeeper. He's not had much to do at all defensively, and it looks as if I would imagine Rashford, who can hit it like Ronaldo, if you like, he can get that dip and swerve on it. Whether he's far enough out to do that or not, but certainly, hopefully, an attempt on goal.
Well, he's done it already in the lead this season. Rashford scored a wonderful free kick. Angel Gomez is prepared to come on here for Manchester United. He's stripped and ready. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's had a word in his ear. They're going to let this free kick take place first. Marcus Rashford, 25 yards from goal, right of centre, has a chance, right footed to put this past Claudio Bravo. It is a 3-man Manchester City wall. Couple of red shirts hang around on the edge of the penalty area, maybe to mop up any block or any spillage by Manchester City. But Old Trafford in the Stretford end awaits. Mike Dean checks the wall. It's the 2 red shirts in front of the 3-man Manchester City wall. 4-man Manchester City wall. It is Rashford, it's over the bar. It was nowhere near troubling Claudio Bravo. That, Arthur Alveston, is a waste.
It is wasted, not even testing the goalkeeper, not enough pace in it anyway to beat him, even if it was on target.
And Daniel James is coming off here for the Reds. He's looked right down the right hand side, but Angel Gomez coming on, Arthur. Is that a move you would have made?
Well, he's a fine player, but it's not a game that you'd want a young lad to come on in such difficult circumstances, especially against a team that will dominate you, especially in the middle of the park where he's going to sit and play.
Angel Gomez, who wants a new contract with Manchester United, is now going to have to prove to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Ed Woodward exactly why he's deserving of that contract. 3-0 United trail still on BBC Radio Manchester. 3 first half goals from Manchester City. The difference. As the ball goes back to Bravo, he sends it towards the halfway line. Pereira tries to get the interception. Here's Aaron Wan-Bissaka, can't return the pass to Andreas Pereira, and Bernardo Silva, and Manchester City flood forward here with blue shirts. It's Bernardo Silva through to Sterling on the left hand side of the penalty area. Lindelof tries to cut him short. It's Lindelof to lay it off to Gundogan with a low shot. It's poor. Rodri comes in, flying in to try and win the ball. Does so cleanly, almost half-heartedly, but still made a good effort of it. Rodri out to the left to find Raheem Sterling. Wan-Bissaka for Kompany. Wan-Bissaka sticks out a leg, wins the ball, but only momentarily. Sterling takes control again. Mendy, 25 to go in this second half. City still lead by 3-0. Fernandinho on the halfway line. Now Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez, and back to Fernandinho again, and City will try and calm things down, Paul Dickov, and try and get their possession game back, which they haven't had altogether in this second half.
No, they've not, but United were always going to come out and be better than the first half. It would be very hard for them not to be. They've changed the formation a little bit, but you know what, I'm looking at Man United and City have got the ball. The front 4 or 5 are trying to press them, but the back 4 aren't getting up with them, which is leaving the space in behind all the time, like we're just seeing now.
Mahrez with a lovely ball over the top to Walker on the right hand side, tries to slide it across the 6-yard box. Handball wanted against Phil Jones, who volleys it away. Scissor kick volleys it away towards the halfway line. Rodri under it. He'll take control for City again with Fernandinho now on this right hand side. City every now and then showing exactly what they had in the first half, and once the first goal went in, when the floodgates open, they lead by 3-0 here on BBC Radio Manchester. Mahrez, poor from him. Here's Fred, he needs to work a way through. Pereira will stand off against Mahrez on the right hand side and keep possession of the ball, puts it out to the right for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 4 red shirts inside the penalty area. Wan-Bissaka again, level with the right hand corner of the 18-yard box, lays it back 5 yards or so to Fred. Now Gomez, and a low shot from Greenwood may come to Rashford. Gomez, another shot, didn't come off. Fred with a shot as well, and Jones will try it. He doesn't even get that on target, even when it's a free shot at goal. And it's a free kick to Manchester City. Offside, the decision from the linesman on the far side, Ian Hussid, and a free kick to Manchester City. Paul Dickov.
Yeah, 66 minutes gone. City quite content at the minute to keep it at 3-0, but just wait for that opening to go and break in Manchester United. With the front 4, the front 5, they can cut open any team. But this is the setup we're doing. United are really pushing on to stop City playing out for the back, and then it's one long ball on top of Brandon Williams that they're looking to get, and that's twice the linesman's given that, and I do not think that's a foul.
Yeah, Brandon Williams up against Riyad Mahrez. It was a long ball on this occasion from Claudio Bravo. Offside given. Mahrez must have just been behind Brandon Williams when that happened, or in front of him, whichever viewpoint you take. The next voice you hear will be Arthur Albiston to give his take midway through the second half here on BBC Radio Manchester, and then to take you through the full time will be Liam Bradford.
It's Manchester United trailing by 3-0 as throw-in on the halfway line is going to be taken by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. 2 changes already for Manchester United. Nemanja Matic trying his hardest to bring some solidity to the Manchester United midfield, and now Angel Gomez, who has barely had a touch of the ball since entering the fray 3 or 4 minutes ago. It's Matic in possession. He's Serbian, gets the ball out to Brandon Williams, takes the man out of play as well. Now Brandon Williams bearing down on the penalty area, slides it through towards Gomez, but quick on the slide was Kyle Walker, and he puts Manchester City back on the front foot. Out to the left-hand side, here's Raheem Sterling. Sterling slides it in towards Benjamin Mendy. Mendy brings it under control and knocks it back for Kevin De Bruyne. And now on to Sterling. Sterling to De Bruyne. De Bruyne to Rodri, and Manchester City have started this keep ball almost the second that I start commentating. I don't know how that happens. I think Mike Maine must have sorted this out so that the Manchester United commentator gets to see Manchester City at their imperious best. Here they come again through Fernandinho, with the cheers going up with every completed pass from the Manchester City fans away to our left hand side. Mendy's got a little bit room to move. finds De Bruyne. De Bruyne switches play to Riyad Mahrez on the right-hand side. Mahrez up against Brandon Williams. Into the penalty area he comes. Shot on goal, saved by the foot of David De Gea. Good strike from the Algerian Riyad Mahrez. Got it on target. De Gea equal to it. Long raking ball cross fields. Not going to find Marcus Rashford, who's looking dejected on the Manchester United left-hand side. Something that we've seen from him before. Gets more and more frustrated, Marcus Rashford, with the unsuccessful passes. Mike Phelan retreats from the Manchester United technical area, but United have won possession back. Mason Greenwood driving towards the penalty area, slides it into Marcus Rashford, hits the box. Oh, United have got one back on the break. Marcus Rashford with a fantastic finish, but it's Mason Greenwood with the inch-perfect pass to give United hope in the derby. Manchester United 1, City 3.
Yeah, Greenwood done all the work in the middle of the park there, busting forward, slid it through in that inside right channel to Rashford. I thought he took a heavy touch actually, but his first touch, the touch he took him further into the box and made his mind up that he's just got to hit it. Far corner, across the keeper, textbook finish.
Yeah, I tell you what, Claudio Bravo, Paul Dickoff, has just been caught slightly indecisive there, hadn't he? He didn't know whether to come or stay, and he made the wrong choice.
No, he didn't, but it goes back to, City's so comfortable in possession, as you were saying, Liam. Incisive, moving the ball quickly, and it's come into Rodri in the middle of the park, and as crisp as his passing has been, it gets really, really sloppy. Gives a sloppy pass away to Greenwood, who does fantastically well, puts Rashford in with his pace one-on-one. Whether Claudio could have came or not, there was only going to be one outcome. The form he's in at the minute, but City possibly their own downfall there.
Old Trafford is rocking as Manchester United managed to get one back against Manchester City. Ball forward though here, and City on the break again. They've been so good. Slid through. Here comes Raheem Sterling. Is he going to pull it back? Is he going to have a go? Just has to arrest momentum, and then the volley from the edge of the penalty area from Riyad Mahrez directly into the hands of the purple-clad David De Gea, and he's just going to calm everything down, David De Gea, and that's probably the wrong decision, Arthur, because United have got the crowd with them. They're absolutely roaring from the stands, and instead of trying to get United on the front foot and take that momentum forward, he's calmed everything down.
No, just what you don't want, as you say. But they certainly, at least United have got the fans up off their seats, something to shout about, scored a goal, and as you say, the momentum's with them. The keeper can use the ball quicker there. They've got the crowd right behind them again, but it just slowed it down just a touch too much.
Throw in from Manchester City, taken by Kyle Walker. Walker sends it back to Claudio Bravo, who's got the ball inside the penalty area under no pressure. His clearance though isn't a great one. It jags off the head of Mason Greenwood, and now City have to clear their lines, which is what they do as De Bruyne wins that header, lifted up and over the top. De Gea's had to come. He's going to head the ball to Brandon Williams. He's under pressure from Mahrez too, but he's managed to find Fred by some matter of fortune, and the Brazilian scampers away down the left-hand side and is absolutely clattered by Kyle Walker, who's taken the ball and the man, and right in front of the Manchester City technical area, Paul Dickoff manages possession back for Manchester City.
Yeah, fantastic pressing though. Starts off with Bernardo Silva, puts young Brandon Williams under pressure, then the ball goes into Fred. Kyle Walker's on the front foot to win it and get it.
Brandon Williams has just gone careering into the back of Riyad Mahrez. He's going to get a yellow card. That's clumsy at best from Brandon Williams, but he's absolutely gone steaming in to try and win that header, Arthur Alderson, and he's got it all sorts of wrong.
He's never going to win it there. He was always just that second too late there. He was always going to catch Mahrez. Mahrez was always going to get a flick on it, and then he was going to get a thump in the back.
Brandon Williams is not scared to get involved with the physical stuff. He loves to get forward. You can see why the Manchester United fans are taking to him, Arthur, as their new left back.
Without a doubt, I've watched him sort of develop over the last 2 or 3 seasons. He always gets sent off against either Liverpool or Man City every season. I can guarantee you that. It's not a bad thing actually. It shows that it hurts him. He's a local lad and he's obviously hurting now as well, but he's got a lot to learn, but certainly he's got ability, and that's why he's in the team.
But getting sent off would not be wise this evening as Manchester United trail by 3 goals to 1. Kyle Walker bringing the ball down the Manchester City right hand side, finds a ball infield to Bernardo Silva, whose body movement finds him a couple of yards of space as he heads towards the edge of the penalty area. Similar position he was trying to get to from where he scored from. Mahrez now picks this up under pressure from Matic and Fred. His cross finds only Phil Jones, who has to drop the ball back to the penalty spot, and Lindelof, who's just going to try and drop a ball into space and manages only to pick out Benjamin Mendy, who can set Manchester City going again. Kevin De Bruyne marauding forward. De Bruyne into the penalty area. His shot blocked off, and Brandon Williams can come away with this ball to the left back position for Manchester United. He has to come in field to Matic. Matic forward to Fred, but City's pressing excellent again. This time Kyle Walker's pressed a little too hard, and the possession given away by Manchester City, and Manchester United have a free kick. And Paul Dickov, this is the danger, isn't it? There's a fine line between pressing high and pressing hard and over pressing.
Yeah, there is, but City, they've shown from the start, they always, whether it's De Bruyne that sets them off, it's been David Silva more often than tonight, and I think that was a difference, especially in the first half. United went and pressed in ones and twos. When City go and press, they do it in 3, 4 or 5 to win the ball back as quick as they can.
Absolutely right, and City have been the better side for it. Manchester United with the most recent goal, and as you can hear, the crowd right behind them here at Old Trafford. They trail Manchester City by 3 goals to 1 on BBC Radio Manchester as Mason Greenwood brings this down and wins it in front of Raheem Sterling, who just manages to clip the heels of the Manchester United forward. United take the free kick quickly. Matic trying to get away from Mahrez, finds Gomez, gets it back to Matic. Matic is going to slide this through to Rashford. Rashford to Fred. Fred's gone out to the left-hand side, and Brandon Williams, who's in the channel, lifts it into the penalty area, brought down by Marcus Rashford brilliantly, but he can't get it past Fernandinho. And just when Manchester United looked like they were going to try and get on the front foot, it's a fantastic tackle from Fernandinho, and then the ball forward from Manchester City, cut out by Manchester United and out for a throw-in on this near side. But United showing some signs of positivity, Arthur.
Yeah, this should give the fans something to shout about. The punching tackle going in there from Lindelof, probably the first one he's done all night really, but certainly we've troubled them a little bit, but City do everything just too good. They close down better, they attack better, and you get that with obviously winning games and being confident, but United have gradually worked their way back into this game, and the daft thing is, if they got another goal back to get beat 3-2, you'd come off actually happy at the end.
Well, I was just about to say, would you take a 3-2 right now? And the answer to that question is, of course, yes you would, as this ball ricochets away and into the path of Fred, edge of the centre circle for Manchester United, but inside his own half, out to the right-hand side, and Lindelof, at fault for at least one of the Manchester City goals, manages to pick a pass away, and then play switched out to the left-hand side. Brandon Williams gets up but doesn't get up high enough, and the ball comes off his head and out of play in front of Pep Guardiola, who's clapping and applauding and urging his team forward, and it's going to be a Manchester City throw. And he's never satisfied, is he, Pep Guardiola, Paul Dickov? He's constantly in at his team, telling them where he wants them, telling them what he wants them to do. It's absolutely relentless.
It is, and it's fantastic to see, 3-0 up, then 3-1 up. He's still giving his players instructions, giving them encouragement. A simple thing there, with Rodri closing the ball down and making Fred kick it out of play. That's what he wants his team to do. Yes, we pass it better than most teams. Yes, we've got world-class players, but he wants them to work harder than any other team that they come up against.
Angel Gomez puts the ball back out of play for Manchester United, meaning that we've got a throw-in for Manchester City. Long it goes towards De Bruyne, cut out by Lindelof, who does well, Lindelof. The referee stopped play here. Lindelof won the ball, but De Bruyne has copped one, I think, and he's lying motionless on the floor here, and the medics have been called on. Stretchers coming on too, and there is just a little bit of concern here for Kevin De Bruyne as Fernandinho goes racing over to him. He is lifted his head off the ground now. Just for a moment, Paul Dickov, I was very concerned, but I have seen movement, and it was a heavy-looking challenge from Victor Lindelof. I don't think there was anything in it. He's won the ball, but he's got the man as well.
No, I looked at it before I see it again. It just looked as if it was two committed players going for the ball. Lindelof's got there first. It looked as if he's got the ball, but as Kevin has jumped into him, it looks as if his knees caught him, whether he's winded or not, or caught him into the ribs. But I'll have to see it again. But last thing Manchester City need is one of the best players in the Premier League, one of the best players in the world. And Kevin De Bruyne lying down like that because he's been outstanding tonight.
Nothing malicious in that at all, was there, Arthur?
No, he's coming on side onto it. Lindelof can see ball, and out the corner of his eye can see De Bruyne. De Bruyne, I think, has only got eyes for the ball, and he's not actually been able to brace himself to expect that. And there's no maliciousness in it at all. Lindelof's not that type of guy.
Still got man down here as Kevin De Bruyne is heaved back to a sitting position. The referee's got the ball tucked under his left arm, Mike Dean, and Kevin De Bruyne is just going to groggily make his way to the touchline here as he straightens up his shirt. He's walking fine. He looks a little bit like he's been absolutely clattered, which he has been. He's made it over to the touchline unassisted though, and looks like he's going to be able to continue. Manchester United 1, Manchester City 3, with 11 minutes plus stoppage time to go here. We are going to have the first substitution for Manchester City as Gabriel Jesus replaces Kevin De Bruyne, who of course has just been clattered in that challenge. And just when Manchester United thought they might be getting a foothold in the game, they see Manchester City's third highest scorer being brought onto the field of play, and Paul Dickoff, that's the last thing that you want to see when you're under the pump.
Yeah, it is. Kevin De Bruyne has been fantastic again tonight, but probably the right decision. He's took a heavy whack into his ribs, into his stomach, and when you look at City's bench and you get Jesus, Aguero, David Silva, Cancelo, Phil Foden and Eric Garcia, it's pretty frightening really, to be fair. And Gabriel Jesus, has been great goal scoring for him recently as well. Had his chance with
balls up and over the top for
Sergio Aguero being out injured, and then obviously Sergio's been back, he's been rotating a little bit, but he's been scoring a lot of goals and looking fantastic.
It was a lifted ball in towards the penalty area from Gomez towards Rashford, but he was never getting anywhere near it really, as Manchester City bring the ball away. Martial being readied for Manchester United. Another attacking substitution from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They trail this one by 3-1. 10 minutes to go, plus any time added on. It's Gundogan in possession inside the Manchester half. He finds Raheem Sterling. Back to Gundogan. The German lays this one off all the way back to the Argentinian Otamendi. And now to the Brazilian Fernandinho. And off out to the English fullback Carl Walker. Mahrez is dispossessed by Fred, but Fred clatters it into the touchline and out of play for a throw-in. Mason Greenwood is being substituted here. He's going to make way, and on in his place Anthony Martial, and that's attacking intent from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Arthur.
Well, it's not going to change the shape of the game, but he might be able to nick us a goal, possibly coming on fresh legs up front against the City back four, but certainly might have one eye on the weekend as well from Mason Greenwood's point of view, who's run his socks off tonight.
Norwich in the Premier League for Manchester United this weekend. Throw-in comes from Carl Walker. Gabriel Jesus is on the end of it. Fred, though, tries to nick it away from him and manages to win the free kick somewhat surprisingly as well. That's another one of those in the middle of the pitch, Paul Dickoff, that seemed like it should have gone the opposite way, but has been given to Manchester United.
Yeah, that's Mike Dean for you.
Not his biggest fan, Paul Dickoff, the former Manchester City striker on BBC Radio Manchester. Salford 3, Port Vale 0 is a full-time score from the leasing.com trophy, as this is turned around the corner from Brandon Williams, but nobody there as Angel Gomez tries to close down. He doesn't get there, the ball's out of play. It's going to be a Manchester United throw, but again it was quite easily, Arthur, a Manchester City free kick in that from Gomez, who was a little bit clumsy when he went in for that tackle.
Well, he was, but I think Fernandinho's done him a favour there really. He's an experienced player. Gomez just left his foot there, which Fernandinho almost sort of kicked really, so good play by the big City defender.
Pereira with a loose pass manages to pick out only Otamendi. Stepping out of defence comes Victor Lindelof, and he's set United on the front foot here. Marcus Rashford on the right hand side into the penalty area, trying to find a yard of space to work in. He does that, turns around, manages to bring the ball across goal, but doesn't release the ball quickly enough, the England forward, and instead Manchester City bring the ball away through Raheem Sterling, and down goes Raheem Sterling under a ordinary at best tackle from Andreas Pereira. And just as I was saying, Andreas Pereira probably with another loose pass. He's ranked 158th in the Premier League for passes completed, and is that good enough for a Manchester United central midfielder? I posed that question.
That was a stupid tackle, Liam, rather than anything else. You don't have to do it. Sterling was going out, he's surrounded by red shirts. Somebody might be able to get the ball off him, but don't foul him, whatever you do.
Raheem Sterling lays the ball off to Gundogan. Gundogan sends the ball down the left-hand side. Offside flag goes up here in front of Mike Phelan. Not wearing shorts this evening, Mike. He's in his jogging bottoms. Manchester United free kick taken quickly, and Matic brings the ball forward and then lays it backwards to Fred. Matic gets it in a more advanced position and then lays it backwards to Fred again, and Manchester United taking 2 steps forward and then 1 back as it comes to Matic in the centre circle. Matic spreads the play wide to the left, and now Martial has picked it up in a dangerous area, lays it down the left hand side. Brandon Williams, first time ball into the middle, saved by Claudio Bravo, but that's better movement from Manchester. Arthur?
Nothing wrong with that cross at all. If the keeper comes...
Claudio Bravo and Manchester City building from the back, and you feel, Paul Dickoff, that Manchester City have taken the foot off the gas because they've been allowed to take the foot off the gas and they can get away with it.
Yes, they have. You know, United had a decent spell for a couple of minutes before they scored and after they scored.
I've got to say that that's definitely a foul. Phil Jones is in trouble here. He's trying to stretch out that calf muscle. Manchester United have made all 3 of their substitutions, so he's got to play on for the next 4 minutes plus stoppage time. Phil Foden, the Stockport lad, onto the field in place of Riyad Mahrez, and immediately he's into the fray as he puts some pressure on Nemanja Matic. Brandon Williams now being pressured by Phil Foden in the penalty area. He's managed to get a ball away here. Brandon Williams to Matic. Martial has dropped deep to pick this one up. Under a little bit of pressure, tries to poke it forward. Doesn't get there, and he's given possession away to Manchester City. Fred trying to break up play in the middle of the park, and it scampers away, and the Brazilian Fred has to come down the crown of the pitch to collect this one, and leaves it for Brandon Williams. The attendance has just been announced at Manchester United at 69,000 people, which is disappointing. At best, 69,000 out of a potential 75,000, and whatever the reasons are for that, Manchester United have failed to sell out a Manchester derby. Here comes Aaron Wan-Bissaka, nods it back to David De Gea. De Gea takes 2 or 3 touches before giving it to Phil Jones. And now Victor Lindelof, and Manchester United fans start to make for the exits here. They've seen enough. Can't really blame them because their Manchester United side has been ordinary, but here's an opportunity to get forward again. Victor Lindelof into the Manchester City half. He's going to find a pass to Marcus Rashford. Rashford turns. Can have a go from distance. Oh, Claudio Bravo in all sorts of trouble. Just manages to get 2 hands on it. He's turned it round the post after Alberston, but what a strike that was from Marcus Rashford out of nowhere.
Well, that's what we'd like to see with a free kick that he had about 15 minutes ago. Movement, dip in the air, and it surprised Bravo, and he done well to get it round the post in the end.
Set piece opportunity for Manchester United, going to be delivered from their right wing. It's a right-footed out swinging corner. Doesn't beat the first man. It's turned out for another corner for Manchester United, and an opportunity for a better delivery from the Brazilian Andreas Pereira out on that far side for Manchester United as they attack the Stretford end. Short it goes to Fred. Fred's going to give it back to Pereira. Pereira under pressure now, has to give it back to Fred, and United have wasted this opportunity, have they? Into the penalty area it comes, headed back to the Manchester City right back position and launched clear, and Manchester United write another chapter in the terrible book of Manchester United corners as the ball's all the way back with David De Gea. It's just not good enough, really, Arthur. You've got to beat the first man, and if you're going to take a short corner, at least give yourself an opportunity to get it into the penalty area.
Or even if you hit it far too long, at least you might have done something, or the keeper might come out and give you another corner.
Ball through the middle for Gomez. Gomez is going to be dispossessed just about. He's looked as though he was going to make it all the way through to the edge of the penalty area, but his touch wasn't great, and Manchester City have won the ball back. Ilkay Gundogan looking to press Manchester City forward again. He's got Raheem Sterling advanced. He's got Gabriel Jesus on the right-hand side. Picks the pass to Jesus. Jesus goes back to Rodri, and now Bernardo Silva, who's playing really deep for Manchester City, sends it out to Mendy. Mendy comes to the centre half. Fernandinho inside the centre circle. Gundogan. Foden out to the right hand side, but it's a poor pass from the German Ilkay Gundogan. And Manchester United have a throw taken quickly. Martial taking on Kyle Walker. Walker just does enough to get his body in the way and wins his side a throw in, and that's great right back play. You've got to say Paul Dickoff from Kyle Walker.
Yeah, he was. Martial's just tried to nick it past him. We know how quick he is, but Kyle's quick as well. Just got his body in front of him and seen it out for a throw.
Launched downfield by Fernandinho. And Aaron Wan-Bissaka under a little bit of pressure from Raheem Sterling. It's Raheem Sterling that brings that ball away, and now Bernardo Silva is going to try and get a ball into the penalty area, cut out by Nemanja Matic. Manchester United have got 3 minutes of additional time to get themselves on the front foot here, as the board signals an opportunity for more United fans to escape Old Trafford as they head for the exits. Manchester City win possession back. Phil Foden driving the ball forward again. He's not done. Phil Foden takes on Brandon Williams once, beats him again. Now he's out to the corner flag, tries to whip it past Brandon Williams. Williams though finds a pass to Matic. Matic forward to Fred, and now forward to Gomez. Matic again pings it up towards the attacker Anthony Martial. Fred caught in possession, not paying attention. Gabriel Jesus, central location. Ilkay Gundogan, edge of the D, out to the left-hand side of the penalty area. Raheem Sterling. Sterling back inside to Gundogan. Gundogan's going to lay this one off to Mendy, and Mendy has to come back to Rodri, and the attack just calms down. But then turning comes Gundogan, up to the edge of the D again. Can he slide in? Bernardo Silva on the right-hand side. He can. Can Silva get a ball across goal? He has a shot, blocked away by Brandon Williams, and it's all the way out to the right-hand side. But Manchester United's defenders look absolutely spent, Arthur Olberston, because there's nobody chasing after that ball, and Manchester City are given possession back again.
And that's what chasing the ball for 90 minutes does to you. They look a little bit out on their feet at the moment. City just kept possession there very comfortably for a minute or two.
Manchester United have possession once more. Nemanja Matic lifts his head, comes into the centre circle, needs an outlet ball, decides not to play it to the right hand side, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who'd made the move, instead comes infield to Pereira. Pereira blocked off by 3 Manchester City shirts, including Phil Foden. Brandon Williams, including Phil Foden. Brandon Williams now brings the ball forward on the left hand side, goes further left to Anthony Martial. Martial's got a runner forward in Gomez. Gomez is going to pick out Pereira. Pereira though tackled on the way through, and it's going to be classed a Manchester City goal kick as a heavy looking challenge goes in on Andreas Pereira. But I think the referee there has made the right call. 60 seconds to go. In the Manchester derby, and Manchester United have been roundly beaten. Arthur Olberston, your thoughts on this game?
Well, by half-time the game was over, the result was, but certainly we've got a goal back, which gives us some crumb of hope, take it in the second leg, but I can't see City throwing it away in the return leg, but you never know in football. You do get strange results. Nobody expected us to go over there a month ago and win 2-1. but certainly we've got to do that and do it a bit better with more goals.
Manchester City, classy, clinical, fantastic, great in possession. Paul Dickoff, I'm going to let you have your say in a moment, but Manchester United bringing the ball forward. Mistake is giving it to Martial. Martial's looking for a ball away. It's hit the referee, and due to the new laws of the game, that means that play will be stopped. It will be a drop ball, which Manchester United will take. I find that new rule absolutely bizarre as Lindelof tries to put a ball into the penalty area. Paul Dickoff, as the final whistle goes here, Manchester United have been soundly beaten in the first leg of the EFL Cup by Manchester City. A Pep Guardiola masterclass. The thoughts on the game come from Paul Dickoff.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding performance by Manchester City. You know, the first half especially, United couldn't get anywhere near Manchester City. You know, it was men against boys at time, with and without the ball. Bernardo Silva for me was man of the match. You know, scoring a fantastic goal, setting a one for Riyad Mahrez. But right throughout the team, City were just far, far superior, and it just shows you the golfing class and where United have to try and get to, because they were so far away from it today, especially in that first half. But outstanding by Pep Guardiola and the tactics. Who would have thought coming here tonight with Aguero and Jesus both fit that none of them would start? And you know, right throughout the team, they showed they knew what they were doing. And you know, I know United changed it, got Matic on at half time, but it was way too late by then. You know, and the reality of it is, it could have been 6 or 7.
Arthur, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been outclassed tactically by Pep Guardiola today. I know he's got limited options on the field of play, but he just came with the wrong game plan and was undone in that opening 45 minutes.
Unfortunately, the players he's got available to him at the moment, Liam, they've been outclassed, outscored, out everything basically. But they've got to show a real commitment and desire to try and get through, or try and get into making it a tie in the second leg in 3 weeks' time at the Etihad. But certainly they've got a little bit of pride back in the second half for an abject first half, and they've got a big mountain to climb 3 weeks from now to try to make a game of it over there.
We said on the way here, myself and Mike Maine, that anything more than 2 goals would mean that it was pretty much game over for Manchester United. 2 goals is the difference. We will find out whether Manchester United can climb that particular Everest in 3 weeks' time. A couple of tweets for you. Ryan says, I'm usually Bravo's biggest critic, but there was nothing he could do about that Marcus Rashford goal. Dave says Sterling's been poor for several games now. His form's really dropped. I'm sure that must be tongue-in-cheek from Dave. It's got to be. There's no other way that can be said. Sterling is burnt out, according to Johan. This is one of his worst performances. We'll talk to Mike Maine and Paul Dickoff about those tweets in just a second. Simon says getting a goal at 3-0 down is putting a plaster on a broken leg, in my opinion. Ian says our best players were Williams and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Fred is at least trying, the rest were woeful. And Mark says 1 good game in 3 at best for their best players, not good enough. They'll be top earners in the league. Manchester United are in trouble for the next few years. Let's talk to Mike Maine and Paul Dickoff about those tweets about Raheem Sterling. Only Manchester City fans could potentially find a negative in that performance.
Yeah, and one such negative is that Manchester City haven't lost by 3 goals at home since losing 4-1 in November 2015 against Liverpool. They've never lost by 3 goals. goals at home under Pep Guardiola. So if you want to take the negative stats straight away, that is it. And there's pressure on Pep Guardiola's side, but largely tonight, Manchester City have dictated a Manchester derby thoroughly, pretty much from the start. United might have had the opening 10, but when City scored 1, it was 2, it was 3, and even in the second half, although United did perform better, they did what Arthur Albiston said and win the second half, it ultimately wasn't enough. They never looked like enough, and even when they were pressing Manchester City, you felt if United did get it to 3-2, Manchester City's quality would have seen it get to 4-2 before full time. They had plenty of opportunities. United really, really, really do have to step it up at the Etihad 3 weeks tomorrow.
Paul Dickoff, I'm absolutely astounded that there are Manchester City fans that are getting stick on social media after a performance like that at Old Trafford in a Manchester derby, where Raheem Sterling, playing a false 9, has worked his socks off and done a fantastic job for the team as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sure it must have been tongue-in-cheek. Raheem Sterling recently, since the last couple of seasons, but this season especially, has scored goals, he's created goals, and I thought yet again he was outstanding tonight. Look, he can't be brilliant every single game, but what player can? But as a team performance tonight, never mind saying individuals were fantastic or didn't have their best game, as a team performance, they were so far ahead of Manchester United tonight.
Tactical masterclass is what I'm putting this down to. Mike Mane, Pep Guardiola, absolutely the master. He's taken what Manchester United did in the derby in December and just turned it straight back on them.
Yeah, he's learned, and I almost want to say that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer hadn't. He approached the game, and this was the chat in the press room at half-time, with an element of naivety that he somehow thought that Pep Guardiola would play the same as he did in December, and United would win this game on the counter-attack. It needed something more tonight, and Pep Guardiola has shown that he's learned from December, learned that Manchester City have frailties against Manchester United's pace, so counteract that. Play your own game, play a different style, play something new, play something Manchester United didn't face a month ago, so it wouldn't be fresh in their minds, and they've done that tonight, simple as.
The press from Manchester City started on the edge of the Manchester United 18-yard box and continued all the way to their own 18-yard box. They defended from the front, and that is when Manchester City are at their best. It doesn't matter who's playing in the back four if the pressure's coming on that high up the field.
Yes, it does, and they've shown time and time again that that's what they'll do. I know they'll work very hard at one player usually. The furthest player forward, whether it be one of the wingers, sometimes it's one of the midfielders, sometimes it's the out-and-out number 9. But as soon as they go and press the ball, the whole team press together. At times Manchester United were chasing shadows in the first half because they were trying to close City down in 1s and 2s, not as a team. And City were just cut all the way through them. And for all the fantastic attacking play tonight, I thought Fernandinho was absolutely outstanding at centre half. He read the game brilliantly well. The first 10 minutes when United were getting on the front foot, he made a couple of fantastic interceptions, and even towards the end of the game, a few balls, and Martial came on with Rashford, the balls in the channel. He's reading of the game so well, and then he goes and starts off the attack.
Manchester City thoroughly deserved winners of this one. Mike Mane, thank you very much indeed for your efforts this evening.
Pleasure, absolute pleasure. We'll do it all again in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it all again, shall we? Paul Dickoff, thank you for your efforts this evening. Always a pleasure to have you along.
Cheers, I've got to say I enjoyed it tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, sat here behind me at Old Trafford, the former Manchester City striker, enjoying himself here. Manchester United thoroughly beaten off the park. They've got to regroup, they've got to get themselves sorted again for a Premier League match on the 11th. They're scheduled the 11th, 14th, 19th, 22nd, and then the return leg against Manchester City on the 29th of this month at the Etihad Stadium. Full match commentary of that game. Manchester City worlds apart from Manchester United this evening. Absolutely fantastic from them. Can't say a bad word about it, and you would imagine that is 1 foot firmly in the final. I tell you what, we're going to leave you with a pick of the match action, because Manchester City have won this derby and they've won it comfortably.
BBC Radio Manchester Sport. Action replay.
Here's Bernardo Silva. Does he fancy the drive? What a goal from Bernardo Silva to give Manchester City first blood in the League Cup semi-final. It's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 1.
Headed down by Manchester United's Victor Lindelof, but only to Bernardo Silva, who's carrying the ball forward. Oh, it's come all the way through to Mahrez. He's rounded the goalkeeper, and it's a double for Manchester City as they extend their advantage. Fantastic finish from Mahrez. United 0, City 2. Ball through the middle. Riyad Mahrez up against Brandon Williams. Williams does fantastically. De Bruyne though picks it up inside the penalty area. De Bruyne. Oh, and it's deflected off Andreas Pereira, and it's gone in. Save from David De Gea. Ended up in the path of Pereira, and Manchester City make it 3. Manchester United 0, Manchester City 3. Mason Greenwood driving towards the penalty area. Slides it into Marcus Rashford. Into the box. Oh, United have got one back on the break. Marcus Rashford with a fantastic finish, but it's Mason Greenwood with the inch-perfect pass. Manchester United 1, City 3.
Action replay. BBC Radio Manchester Sport.